On the blue side, T1 with right of first selection, and they have chosen to first pick. So let's see what they're going to be banning away and what the focus is going to be here today, and whether that Bard is still going to be banned, as the Inara is going to be taken off the board.
Gone right away.
There we go.
There's the Bard. Okay. They did that part right.
They know which team they're playing against. Wolf, that's a really good start.
It's a good sign. Nocturne ban is quite interesting. Perhaps looking for an Azir Orianna trade where they get their hands on the Azir. Nocturne has been pretty strong even without the Orianna.
Yep.
Especially with certain team compositions that have dive, or if you're looking for a more immobile carry. Like the Varus, which will probably also be banned by BNK here, since they are playing second pick here on blue side.
Yeah, I think Varus Rumble are probably looking like the most optimal ones, but instead the Ambassador is going to be taken away.
And Doran hasn't played Rumble just yet this tournament. You mentioned earlier, they've been the ones doing the banning. It hasn't been banned as much against them. That may change here as the Varus is banned, and we're looking probably for that Azir Orianna handshake.
Ah, interesting that it's banned on, I guess, I was going to say blue side, but banned first with first pick opportunity. Because it's often one of these priority picks. The Vi is going to be taken away, so that Orianna Azir trade is looking pretty likely. And when you've got Jarvan still on the board as well, I think the Orianna feels absolutely fine.
I think
as Rumble Orianna would be absolutely revolting.
You can also go Rumble Jarvan here if you'd prefer it. Pantheon empowers like the Taliyah though. So you get the Pantheon Rumble, and then you have Taliyah on 3. I know everyone is a little bit low on Taliyah right now, but I do think into the Azir specifically, which is rarely the matchup we see. It's been mostly Taliyah and Rise where it's a lot tougher. I do think there is some real reasoning behind going for this style and going for the Rumble Pantheon into the Taliyah on 3. And Doran will get the counter pick here of the Ornn in the top side.
Yeah, I've seen Ornn do relatively well. She picking up a solo kill yesterday onto Keen. That was kind of impressive. Faker just going to lock away the Xin Zhao for Ona. I know a lot of people want to see his Lee Sin. This has been a ridiculous champion in the hands of this player, so understandable. They do go towards that one. Vikla thinking about Orianna or Taliyah, and whichever one he locks in, I think they will still have a very powerful top side of the map. I'd probably prefer to see the Orianna. I think that Pantheon is fine as far as ball carrier is concerned.
If you take the Orianna, it means you have a lot of, like you take that away from Faker as well. It's another strong S-tier pick that can work with the Nocturne that's still available, so you always have to keep that in the back of your mind moving forward in the series, and I think that's part of why. Plus the Orianna is incredibly strong in laning phase. But here for BNK, they have not the greatest ball carrier in the Pantheon. They have the equalizer set up with Pantheon, but they are going to need a lot of scaling damage behind this, or at least a guaranteed winning bottom lane for them to feel very comfortable, because we're looking at the Azir and the Ornn on the other side. The late game for T1 already feels stronger almost by default.
Yeah, the good old scaling of building items for your friends. Sounds like a pretty good one here for Doran. And with the extra levels and all that sort of stuff, the fact that you get that extra experience, it means that those ornaments can come through a little bit quicker. As there is the Lucian ban away from Diablo, one of his best champions. Although I think one of his most impressive performances was on Jhin, kind of ridiculously. Looking fantastic on that champ. We'll see whether that gets a look in, as it does kind of go okay with a composition like this.
Yeah, interesting to see what's going to come through here with the Corki ban now as well. We're moving down the list quite heavily here, and as the Inara was already taken away, that's often left up in favor of banning the Azir or the Orianna, the Misfortune. So with Misfortune and Corki, and now the Nico banned, you have a lot of agency to pick Alistar even in this draft, it feels, to get through the laning phase. The Bard is obviously banned as well, and you can just play through that, or just go straight up into the Aphelios carry we mentioned earlier for Diablo.
Wow.
Right out the gate here in game 1.
And also denying it from Pays for the rest of the tournament. That's kind of fun. This would be fighting fire with fire. Jinx has been a classic counter. We've mentioned it many, many times.
But do you take the Lulu or do you take the Thresh?
I'd prefer the Lulu. Carrier would probably prefer Tahm Kench because he thinks of it as an engaged support. That'd be kind of fun. But I wouldn't mind any of the 3, to be perfectly honest, just making sure that there's a little bit of extra peel for Pays.
I kind of like the Lulu here for Keria because of its empowering of the already incredibly strong Xin Zhao. But Keria is arguably most famed champion of his career, even though the Bard is more recently the new hot for him, is going to be the Thresh they take. And this is a classic, right? The Jinx counter to the Aphelios. We haven't seen it very often because she has been so not meta, not strong, but with the changes to crit, she's incredibly strong on this patch, and players have shied away from her, but Paze is going to pick it up here in Game 1. Like, this is usually something you see in Game 3, Game 4, not Game 1 of a Fearless draft. And this is what we saw when I first came into the LCK, when Aphelios was incredibly meta, often even B1'd in some of those drafts. It was like Aphelios Jinx every game. This is pre-Fearless. Yep. We saw it all the time. At the Jinx Thresh, Aphelios Lulu, the classic battle. We have not seen it as a staple here in a really long time, but the Jinx is usually considered to be the counter because it has the extra range, and that range advantage, especially in the laning phase, is going to feel great. However, with the Lulu on the other side, you have a ranged support who can harass and offer some additional damage. The Pantheon is really, I think, the X factor here in this draft for BNK because it will have a lot of rotational power. They don't have a strong side lane champion to play through, though, because they're playing through the Rumble, so it's a little bit more about the setup for those team fights and getting the equalizer into position. How Raptor plays this, I think, will define the mid-game here for BNK.
There is so much pressure on Raptor with this draft. Like, it's actually kind of insane. Command Protect is going to really beef him up, as well as the Wild Growth that will be available there. So the Pantheon, getting him into the right position is going to be very, very important. Is she an idol or something?
Yeah, I think so.
That's pretty.
It's hard to tell which one because she's staying a little undercover.
Yeah, she was definitely very, very incognito. Nakyong Lee is her name.
Oh, from S9. Okay.
S9, there we go. I need to know more about K-pop and stuff like that. I just am not in the know. Too much League of Legends on the brain. And speaking of which, let's get more of an India brain as we get onto the Rift for game number 1, BNK VRX against T1. I was really expecting one of the T1 fans to randomly screech as well, as I'm going to have to hold that thought, as Vikler is dying. Faker really wanted to get a bit of extra damage down, as Vikler following his minions towards the lane. If this was last year, he'd be able to just go back and it would be fine.
It's not, so he's not. And he is just going to have to play very carefully here, and every single decision he makes, every auto he sends, it's actually really important. Missing that Q, actually quite impactful.
Yeah, this is subpar.
He has a potion, of course, so that will help. And once he hits level 2, he will get a lot of health from that. But in a lot of other matchups, might just lose the lane from that alone. Straight up.
Could have been very, very rough. As Clear and Doran laning this one out. The Ornn has actually been relatively good early on in this lane. As you can see here, Doran laning very aggressively right now. But Clear has been doing just fine. Carrier missing that particular hook as we head down towards this bottom side.
Yeah, Lulu can auto-attack at range.
Hey, so can Thresh, kinda.
Kind of.
I mean, it's not really range, but it's more than melee, you know?
Yeah. It's like he's swinging a towel at you.
Yeah.
Not quite the most threatening thing, but because he misses the hook, you know, that's kind of how this matchup goes. You look for a hook, you miss it, and Lulu's like, all right, well, that's some of your health gone, and that's some more prio in the lane. Good reaction, though, from T1. His owner is going to go for an early gank here.
The good old level 3 gank. Zin's out, not necessarily known for it. And we've got Raptor nowhere near. Diablo, I think, has a bit of an idea as to what's going on here, but already Owner comes through. And they get the flash through. That is so beautiful from Carrier. Sets it up with the flash prediction, and down goes Diablo. Not enough summoner spells for this bottom laner.
I hate to say it, but like, this is the second time that's happened 2 days in a row with the winning lane. We saw yesterday Canyon go for the early gank on the bottom duo of D+, in the same situation with their Ashe Seraphine lane. And here, you're pushing up super far, you don't have any vision, and there's a lot of great follow-up to a Xin Zhao gank here with the Thresh lane. You gotta play more respectfully there. Now, both summoners down for Diablo. Dies anyways, and all of the wind is out of the sails here for BNK's bottom duo.
Yep, this is a disaster, and we know that a Jinx is just going to be able to get better and better as time goes on. Diablo has decided to pick up a cull, and so foregoing any extra pressure, and yeah.
I mean, he just walks right into it, and he knows there's a possibility of this. That's why he's heading over there to set up a ward, but yikes. That's I don't know what the opposite of ideal is, but it's that.
And now Raptor is looking for a gank onto Faker here. Does get the flash out as the Aegis comes on through. So Vikler is out of the woods just a little. Let's see whether he can actually even out the farm, as Owner is going to move on over and take this Rift Scuttle towards the top side of the map. So it didn't actually impact his clear too much, but is behind by a couple of camps, as we can see.
Yeah. Not going to be the weak side police there on the top lane for Doran, I don't think. And there is a ward there for clear. He's not going to have the same weak point that Diablo and Kellen had. And, you know, obviously a lot of the time you want to be warding at level 1 in the brushes to make sure that you end up getting the level 2 advantage, so you can push the lane like that. And it is not always going to be a level 3 gank that you expect. It's been much less common recently. But as recently as yesterday and today, you know, if you are going to push that hard, you have to be ready. And then maybe don't walk into the river. If you're just not going to ward initially, maybe kind of path down a little bit. Play more safe.
This is the thing. It's sort of misreading what the potential level 3 timings could have been on that particular gank. And really good, you know, experimental pathing from Owner as well. Of course, not a lot of people expecting a Xin Zhao gank at level 3.
If they do expect it and you don't get anything out of it, the cost is high, right? So it's not, on BNK's defense, it is not something that you expect to happen 100% just because you're that far up in the lane.
Yeah. Well, now Carrier is just off to the side here, making sure that he does soak the experience.
Hayes got his Greaves off of this back, so he is ready to fight. He is ready to scrap and trade back a little bit here versus the Cull in terms of items here for Diablo. Feeling very nice for the Jinx.
Well, there's the flash. Let's see whether Vikla can get that Shockwave down. Hits that level 6. And Emperor's Divide is going to be used preemptively here to make sure that he can't get over. Shockwave goes completely wide, though, as Faker's just walking it off.
Vikla's
shifts
face.
the sands, and he's just fine.
Faker's just like, no. Good try, buddy. Vikla's face.
And now this bottom lane is just up a creek that they don't like without a paddle. However, that is going to be the first kill going over to BNK. Now Raptor is going to find Faker trying to make his way back. And there is the orb once again. Faker shifts the sands once more, and the spear does go wide. And so a 1-for-1 in the bottom lane. Actually better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And Vikla now is able to farm behind this turret.
Kill goes over to the Lulu on the bottom side, so not as good as it could have been. Good gravitum there from Diablo, who didn't have flash. Kellen is the one who is going to employ it, juggle some of that aggro back, or buy some time during the turret aggro, as Raptor was like, and I took that personally, Faker surviving there, but he does not die, and actually, in fact, stays even in CS. However, 2 plates did go over to Vikla, which will, you know, put him in a pretty significant advantage here. You can see he also has a slight roll quest advantage as well.
Yep, doing pretty well there. And is now able to move on over. Carrier getting up here as well, as Faker just trying to desperately get this wave shoved out so that he can go back. Vikla is not seemingly afraid as this huge wave of minions does come towards him. Doran is now burning as Clear, looking for an opportunity. Does have his flash available. The Equalizer and the Ram just came down. I'm glad that we didn't necessarily have to watch. I imagine that was just an attempted bit of harass with some R buttons.
Yeah, it looks that way. Just no flash employed from either player means doesn't look like they were set up in a way that were really threatening at all. Swifties on the board here for Clear, trying to apply that pressure. And we'll see Doran go back. Doesn't have TP, though. And it calms down for a second here.
Yeah.
We were kind of going at 100 miles per hour from very early on at 40 seconds in, that gank onto Vikla. I don't even know if I call it a gank, just a level 1. We don't have level 1s anymore, so like, what do we say? They took it from us.
It's still a level 1. It's just you have a very short amount of time in order to get that level 1 down. So that was high value. Having a look though, things being this even is testament to BNK being able to stabilize. A lot of other teams, things could have gone completely off the rails after what happened in that early game. And Pays is in a very good spot, don't get us wrong. But there's a 20 stack advantage on the Cull here for Diablo. And this Aphelios will still probably get to pretty dangerous territory in this game. First rate going to get started up here by T1 though, as they are on a ward. Phaelite is lit up there.
Yeah, and Raptor does have his ultimate, but there's not really a great angle to employ it for him, unfortunately. Could try to get into the backline with a Wild Growth setup if we could see Kellen close that gap. He also has level 6. They're going to try for something.
Yeah, Kellen moving over here. I don't know about this one, as Wild Growth is available. Lantern can be taken here as the Flame Chompers go down, as Vikla possibly a target here for Faker. No flash. Shockwave comes in onto 3 as the hook is going to connect. Vikla is definitely dead, but can they keep fighting? The answer is no, as Ona just dashes forward still. Diablo finding the damage. Moonlight Vigil to take down the Xin Zhao, and now Carrier is looking for him. Red White Guns come in, but he doesn't find the hook, and Diablo's able to run amok in the fight. Faker able to take the Lantern out, and so T1 will get away with their support in mid laner.
Yeah, very close to losing a third there in Carrier, but he does get out, and unfortunately for BNK, they weren't able to secure the dragon, but they do win the longer fight. Because in this initial setup, I was like, okay, they really want to set up Shockwave into a Wild Growth combo, but T1 play this well. They collapse onto Vikla first. He still gets a Shockwave off, and this hook is huge onto Raptor because it buys some space. If Raptor could get in there and then set up a Wild Growth post Shockwave, it could have been massive. But Diablo ends up getting the massive ult here with the Infernum, and then is able to swap over to Red-White, so he actually is doing massive damage here. They don't have cooldowns anymore. The kill goes over to Pays, or onto Pays, so even though he was excited, he's not able to actually offer that damage through anymore, and the longer fight is won by Diablo. Doesn't pick up any of the kills, unfortunately, either, but now has 3 assists to his name.
Yep, and that gold lead that Pays had for most of the early game is slowly getting smaller and smaller, so to me, it's looking like we've got a bit of a game on our
hands. Yeah, I like
game number 1. And I do really like the BNK composition. We were talking before about how they've had a lot of synergy success as Hook is going to come down. Diablo just walks into it. Pace has to flash. Diablo cannot follow, but Carrier is definitely dead. As, yeah, Raptor has it charged up. Pace in a bit of trouble. The flash from Kellen! Help Pix to take the kill.
All right, send him in. And now we really got a game on our hands.
And now Diablo really doesn't have a kill. Like, this is so annoying.
He's going to have a plate additionally here to his name, at least though with the Crystalline Overgrowth taken out.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a solo plate as well, 120, and he's got Severum, or Crescendum.
Crescendum's ridiculous for taking turret plates as well, so that might be an extra one to be taken down, especially with Raptor in the vicinity to help out. Let's have a look at this one more time.
So, I mean, he's on a ward, but, we're still going.
Oh, dear. Pays has just made his way back and is now lost half his health already, and now he's dead. Diablo is given a kill! There we go. BNK now moved to 6-3, 2.5k gold advantage.
There may be a bit of a bell curve in terms of us having a game and then not having a game that may be occurring. We may be close to not having a game again, Atlas, just in the other direction.
Oh, no, that's true. We need to stay in the sweet spot. Stay in the, okay, T1, make something happen here as Faker gets the flash down. The Ram comes through as well as Diablo's knocked up in the game. It's coming back. It's coming back. Well, Faker's going to be able to pick up that kill. Kellen is going down as well, and T1 move back towards the driver's seat. As Pays cannot catch a break, man. It's just he's trying to get to a mini-wave. His Carrier is likely dead. The box did come on through, but Raptor will have some more buttons available, and there it is. Now Ona's come on over, though, and no more flash here for Raptor as Teleport brings the Rumble to the bottom lane, and Pays is going to come over and try and grab the kill, but it is Ona that picks that one up.
I do think in terms of the gold, this ends up evening out pretty nicely for T1 after what seemed like it might have been a disaster there. As Pays was denied farm. Pays is now in a CS deficit after what was a crazy scenario there in the early game where he got the freebies. Okay.
Yeah.
Vikla, the biggest winner here, arguably, because he was able to deny Pays farm and also get additional money there in the mid lane, as this is so much of a commitment here. Look, Faker's roaming down, Vikla's in the mid lane during this, so yes, they end up getting the kill here, but it takes a lot of time. Mind you, also, at the same time, Doran is here, so plate gold is going over to clear on this Rumble on the top side while Pays is being denied farm, so yes, they do end up getting the kills here, T1 do, but it's at a heavy cost. And Carrier also dies. He was roaming mid while Pays was coming back, which is part of why Pays was killed a second time. He dies here, but at least it's a trade back. This doesn't really mean too much in isolation, but Raptor is pretty fed in this game. I think that's
It does get the flash out of Raptor, which could be important moving later on into the game, but more kills on the Pantheon always feels good. 4, 1, and 2. My goodness.
Oh, that was his fourth. Yeah, not his third.
Yeah, that is a lot of gold over to Pays, though, being able to pick up that first death for the Pantheon. And so that's why things are kind of okay here on this bottom side. Moonshot not exactly doing too much as Pays gets that shield from the Lantern, but Kellen feeling pretty good on this Lulu, and I think Lulu's power level pretty high, and especially when paired alongside these hyper carries that can really get stuff done in the late game.
I'm amazed to hold up Pays.
That's Moonlight Vigil that comes down, grabbing him, comes on through there, and the Pantheon is going to come down, and yeah, there was no room for a Lantern.
Yeah, Diablo is starting to actually get the kills now, too. He's not just getting assists anymore. Yeah, that's just straight up not really much FaZe could have done there. Didn't have flash, got hit by the Moonlight Vigil with grabbing him set.
Yeah, and also
see you later.
It's a fed Lulu, so that he's got an Ardent Sensor built already.
Oh my god!
So Diablo may not have any items himself, but thankfully Kellen's built one for him. Yeah. So there you go. There's a little bit of extra something. This is going to be the first rate going over to B&K, and we have a Mountain Soul this game as well. If T1 get that, that would be pretty scary. But same for B&K.
You know, we talked about how much of a game we have here. We might have like too much game here now.
Yeah, it's all over my hands. It's falling all over the desk. I can't see the monitors anymore. There's just too much game everywhere.
Diablo just hits him over the wall with the Moonlight Vigil because of the ward, and Raptor was ready to go in instantly there.
FaZe is just not allowed to walk towards his own turrets. As soon as he does that, he seems to die. It's all right, Ram comes down, flash out from clear, just to avoid dying to Ona's gank there towards the top side, but they do get the flash. That is good news.
T1 are in serious trouble here. Like, this game is very rapidly becoming unplayable. I mean, now
there is a de-evolution happening of the video game.
Yeah, we're back to this is not a game at all situation here because FaZe can't play the game anymore, and Diablo has taken a significant lead. Obviously, the Cull is about to cash in, and that's going to get even bigger. Notice he is 55 stacks ahead of FaZe in terms of that Cull cash in, so he's going to go to 2K ahead in just a moment here. CS lead is there for Vikla. He has his first item online. Plate gold, pretty massive here, as you guys can see. And B&K, this composition is not supposed to be this strong this early.
Well, it certainly is. I mean, in comparison to the T1 comp, though, it kind of makes sense, right? Because they have a lot of scaling in a lot of these lanes. It's not a lot of win lane, win game for this composition. You could argue that Ornn actually does pretty well into the Rumble, but ultimately is more of that late game champion. Jinx and Azir are two of like the poster champions for late game scaling. Even if, you know, Azir has been in a position where he can kind of lane pretty well forever. This was pretty greedy in the draft. And so B&K, even though their comp does kind of do the same thing, it's better than what T1 has at this stage of the game.
Diablo's had his role quest done significantly faster as well than FaZe, so he's starting to get even more money even faster, as that is just how it goes with AD carries. FaZe should be finishing his very soon, but Diablo is really, you know, starting to stack up the gold. That Cull cashed in I mentioned. Yeah. And he is on his way to a second item very soon here. I think with no equalizer, Clear may be in trouble, but I mean, there's not... I have to wait for that next wave if they're going to go for this. Vikla does have TP.
There could be a teleport angle here. We'll just have to see whether they do go for it. And it looks like the answer is going to be no. Clear is just dead. Ona tanks up the turret quite a lot, but he is absolutely fine as Diablo is behind this turret, and it's all about cross-map here for B&K. They're like, we do not care about you killing our top laner if we can take the mid lane outer turret as well as the top lane outer.
All plates going over, and...
Where did the Grubs go, by the way? The Grubs just kind of went back to the Void.
The Grubs read the patch notes, and then they went and went and hid away. They were like, oh, yes, it's the bottom lane. That's where we play. I mean, Doran has spent a lot of the game not in his lane as well, and there's not a lot of prio up there, not a lot to play through there, so we just didn't end up taking them. As Raptor has spent his entire life in this game devoted to killing FaZe.
Yep. And you know what? If that's what he's going to get meaning from, he must have a pretty meaningful life. He's been certainly successful. Now has 2 items complete. So does Ona, though, who is pretty strong in this game at the same time. The jungle is in pretty good standing right now. Somehow Ona is actually ahead in gold. Even though he's behind in kills, does have those couple of extra assists and things like that. And so our junglers, very powerful in this game.
They really are. I mean, everybody's kind of accelerated except FaZe right now.
Oh dear.
This is a crazy TP.
Yeah, let's see whether this one's going to work out as Clear makes his way in. Now Raptor gets on top. That's going to be the shockwave onto 1 as Ona trying to get himself out of there. There is Clear dying though to FaZe. FaZe actually getting some more money here as now Raptor could be taken down as well. A bridge too far perhaps, but now Diablo's able to get that damage through. Super Mega Death Rocket though to answer, and now Diablo's frontlining. I'm not sure about this one as he needs as many Gravitums as he can. The flash over was so sexy from Diablo. Finds the Moonlight Vigil and FaZe shuts him down. T1 will find the team fight in the end, but it looked pretty cool on B&K's side.
All I have to ask is why for B&K on this play, the Rumble flanking TP melee range equalizer experiment, I think maybe needs a little bit more room to go back to the drawing board a little bit, maybe discuss this one a little bit, because he just sacrificed himself. The equalizer value is okay here, but you're just otherwise so incredibly split. And if Diablo was not as big as he was, same with Vikla, honestly, I think there's just nothing in this fight for BNK. This flash from Diablo was amazing, but ultimately it still isn't enough to kill Paze.
Yeah.
As Keria hits the hook onto him and the damage is there, the zap is there, and Paze is able to take him out.
Even with the cleanse, that hook was enough to stop that last auto attack from coming through. So really important there that Keria did manage to hit that one. He's pretty good at Thresh, is what we all kind of know.
But now the game is more even than it was before.
I mean, if we look at the bell curve, Wolf, we are back in game territory.
T1 are going to take this dragon. It's their second of the game, which will put them at just a simple one dragon lead here at 19 minutes. But that's a lot of map control taken away from BNK despite those early turrets that went down.
And also there is a lot of standing gold here for T1. They've only taken the bottom outer turret. They still have mid and top lane to remove and the plates along with it. So if they are able to take some control, then it could mean that a lot of these structures are just going to go down and that gold lead could balloon. As now Doran's possibly in trouble. He's looking to try and turn this into a bit of an engage though. Finds the flash forward, Shockwave just to try and keep Diablo alive. It gets the autos down. Faker is taken out, but they are able to answer with the whole bottom lane being destroyed. Raptor with the Aegis, not able to get it done. And Paze, yeah, he's excited now. Able to take down his arch nemesis in Raptor on the Pantheon, and 3 already dead in trade for Faker. Clear going to follow. Hook, of course, is going to connect, and the Flame Spitter not doing enough, and another kill over to the Jinx.
That was
T1 are trying to take the game out of our hands, Wolf.
Yeah, it was a really clean setup from T1. Again, like, I don't want to say that BNK are throwing this away, but they're being very sloppy with their setups here. Look at where Diablo is. Like, Faker is in, shuffle range of him. Now, he doesn't end up getting him initially here, but he's on the setup while they're trying to push the banana brush and look for a setup there on the corner with Clear. They just left Diablo in a position where he was easily going to be engaged on. And, really for what, though? I mean, if you can just play this a little bit slower, you have the Orianna ultimate to zone, can prevent Faker from having these types of plays, right? Faker is, by the way, massive in this game now.
Yeah.
And he has been for quite some time. And he's even going to get some additional gold because he's alone there on the top side right now with a big wave. Diablo is not really set up for success in that one, and it was not his fault.
Yeah, the thing that's a little bit of a worry is if your Aphelios doesn't have flash, you can't be in positions like that, right? Where things can get turned on. Plus,
or you got to be grouped around him, right? Like,
and don't engage onto an Ornn.
Yeah,
because he's pretty strong, and he's a secret agent. Like, look at him. 007 there towards the top side of the map. 2 items completed, and does have his own ornament. The Kraken Slayer is now the Kraken Obliterator here for Paze. And even more of those items are going to come on down. So you can see T1 with a 500 gold lead, something like that. But the amount of stats they have is much higher.
I've seen this before, Atlas. I've seen the, Faker might get caught in the side lane.
Oh, no.
And T1's already running up.
Surely, like, BNK knows.
They know. Everybody's got to know by now. When Faker's, like, past the equator, and you're like, I think he might be a bit too pushed up, but you don't know where the rest of the team is, just don't go on Faker. They learned. They know. And I thought we might have seen another disaster here for BNK, but doesn't happen, Atlas, and we're just going to reset back to waiting for Dragon territory here, where if T1 get this with an Ornn and a Xin Zhao, frankly, Mountain Soul Point feels very potent.
Oh, yeah. Like, even just the individual Drakes feels very, very strong, where they're the team with the front line. And BNK, we were talking about how this composition actually gets things done in the early game, and T1's draft was somewhat greedy as far as the amount of stuff they have in the late game. I mean, it's 22 minutes into the game. We're getting towards said late game, and with Doran at level 14, he's going to start doling out even more as Paze. Oh dear, he was on the map again. That's problematic.
Yeah, he was almost near his inner turret, and Raptor was like, that's just not enough. That's not enough safety.
That's why I said he was in the dangerous spot, which is on the map.
Yeah, he wasn't in the base, so, which is arguably not safe at this point either with this Fed Pantheon. And they're just going to start the Baron.
Yeah.
Owner does have flash.
I mean, there's a lot of damage onto this as well, as BNK trying to get rid of the vision. T1 not wanting to give this one up, as now Owner going to get engaged on here by Clear. He's the one that needs to be there for the smite, so if Clear can actually get him out of here, that could be a big deal as the hook is going to connect, and Keria is going to look to try and take down Clear, but now Faker's in trouble. Polymorphed, and Diablo will be able to find the kill before anything's really happened. Clear is going to get traded, and now the Baron is down exceptionally low. Owner still has a health bar, though, and he gets into the pit. It is going to be secured by Raptor, but down goes the Aphelios, and now Vikler is trying to kill Carrier. He might be able to do so as the hook doesn't land, and Raptor is able to get himself out of there. B&K somehow find the team fight. I say somehow, I mean, T1 had to fight without their Jinx, but still, I mean, that was a mess until it was fine.
I kind of feel like that was one of the cleanest Barons I've seen from two teams in like ever. But I mean, T1 didn't have a Jinx, right? And the setup was terrible. It's still not gonna have a Jinx.
Just gonna look to kill Vikler here, and Vikler says, "I will instead take that."
Yeah. So they didn't have a Jinx. They won't have one anymore for a moment here as well. But the way that B&K played this, well, watch how they mark Faker. As we're gonna go back to this play first, which is him backing on a ward, unfortunately.
Yes, it's the pays on the map problem again.
Yeah. Carrier's like, I got a lantern for him, but it's too late. Look at how they play this, though. Faker TP's in, and B&K do not, they're like, if we can't kill Owner, we're not going to put this in smite range. We're not going to 50-50 this. They push on the Faker while Clear marks Owner alone, and then they turn on to Clear because it's the only option, right? T1 play this brilliantly as well. Faker's trying to find the angle. He can pull 3 people worth of aggro. He dies. And then T1 try to make this happen, right? Like they're like, I'm not giving this a 50-50, I'm not giving this a 50-50, but they're taking so much damage that T1 find the angle to go in and almost are able to deny this. Like, I feel like both teams played this brilliantly, and T1 was the team that were playing with one hand tied behind their back and yet still made it interesting.
Yeah, and that was a 50-50 in the end. As B&K are going to even out the Drakes. Oh, goodness, there is so much game. The game is everywhere.
Yeah, it's 33 kills as well in this game.
Yeah.
We are game maxing.
We are definitely game maxing. This is the most game I have seen all season long, as the equalizer is not maximizing the amount of game. It was just hanging out. As now Diablo wants to take down the Sun Disc, as Doran is going to get a nice knock up there onto the Aphelios, but his damage is actually quite ridiculous now with 3 items complete. The Ram comes on through just to take down Clear, is now Owner looking for the angle. Diablo still wanting to fight this. And B&K realizing without their top laner, they're going to have a little bit of a struggle. So this Baron is going to be less helpful than it otherwise was.
If there was an equalizer there, I think things could have turned out a little bit differently.
I mean, the equalizer was in the right spot. It was just there like 15 seconds early.
Yeah.
Problematic.
Clear is somehow, like, I haven't really looked at this, but he's 0-5-4 in this game. This game has really not been about top lane.
He's 1,000 gold ahead as well. I think a lot to do with like global gold, but like the 0-0-10 on, who's actually doing absolutely fine.
If this was last year,
really far behind.
If this was last year, he'd have like an 800 gold bounty as well for some reason. As Doran tests the theory of like, how tanky am I? It turns out really tanky, actually.
Yeah, quite.
And so they cannot punish him for walking up like that, and it's in fact B&K who get punished as Raptor, or rather Clear, does get taken out.
By the way, that's first strike, by the way. First strike is why Clear has the advantage that he has.
Yes.
That rune, that keystone looking pretty
It's
revolting.
pretty good when you shoot an Ornn a lot repeatedly.
Indeed.
Forever. And the Ornn can't hit you first. You're the one who strikes first, in fact.
Oh, Faker doing some damage right now with his Nash's Tooth upgraded.
This is a really good position for B&K on the map, just 4-1 with the Rumble.
By the way,
those waves.
Dude, what about, so the ornament name for Nash's Tooth, why don't we call it Baron's Grill?
Why? Oh, okay, I get it.
Don't you reckon? I reckon that one sounds pretty good. As manages to get out of there. That was... Diablo likes to play on the edge.
Yeah, he does.
Say that.
And then the T1 players were like, Pays, come on, you got to work on your recalls. Did you see how Diablo did it? He knows his limits. Yeah, Baron's Grill. I'm down for it.
Heck yeah. All right, so...
Sounds better than Baron's Veneer, right? Like,
yeah, that sounds like you're fixing something. You haven't made a decision to be a little bit more gangster, you know?
Exactly.
I like it. All right, B&K waiting for this next Baron that's going to be up in 2 minutes' time, but Soul Point available for both teams, as this is going to be available
the macro
in 2.5 minutes.
For B&K has been honestly refreshingly crisp. They've played this really well. They 4-1'd for a little bit to get control over the bottom side of the map, forced T1's rotation over. Diablo had that successful back. They pushed the Ori on the top side in the lane matchup into the Ornn, so he has a ton of control there inside pressure. Faker hasn't really been able to breathe that much. He's finally actually able to push a wave past the river, but that's as far as he can go because it's a Pantheon with ult up, right? So he has to kind of stop there. And I think the way that B&K have used this slight lead that they have right now post-Baron, before any of these objectives respawn, has been pretty efficient. Hasn't really given T1 many opportunities to punish them.
Yeah, they've taken a bit of an advantage as well, moving that needle back in their direction. none of it really all that meaningful, and with all the ornaments, it is a little bit dangerous. As oh dear, Faker's in a side lane. I'm saying oh dear for B&K, because we've seen fights like this break out, and T1 don't seem too worried about it. Teleport is going to come on through, though, as Diablo is going to get missed because he does have his trusty minion in the way. Manages to take down the inner turret. Nicely cross-mapped. Like, again, this is what B&K have been so good at this game, and that is keeping T1 honest with their plays. As Doran going to look for a knock-up here, but doesn't quite have enough direction. There's the shockwave, though, as Vikla picks it up. Wild Growth to keep Raptor alive as well, but Pays is free-hitting. Diablo is frontline as he flashes on top of Pays, gets the big shield and will go down, but he takes the Jinx with him, and B&K, I think, have enough damage left in the tank. Doran is finally going to burn down, and Carrier has to flash. 10 seconds until the Baron. And that was are really good, man.
Yeah, they actually really are. And that was Diablo basically just saying, damn it, I said hit the damage dealers. They're all shooting Orin, and he's like, no, no, no. I said we kill the AD carry. Is it the initial part of this fight? It looks like T1 might be able to buy some space back here. Vikla and Raptor set this up, though. Amazing shockwave. Faker is dead. That's half the damage gone, right? Then the Wild Growth buys some additional space here. Pays can't really be hit by anybody. Diablo's like, I guess I'll take care of this. Carrier hooks him. He cleanses and takes that extra shot, and they trade each other. But without Faker here, there is just no way T1 can win the fight back. And this is a ton of gold. This is Baron, as you mentioned, and potentially the game-winning moment for B&K.
Yeah. Man, Diablo's cleanses have been just incredible this game. Every time, it looks like he doesn't get CC'd from the death sentence. The one towards the top side of the map was a little late, but that one was perfect and made sure that he went 1-for-1.
T1
is still going to be able to get the Drake. Yeah, it is a 5,000 gold advantage, and Baron goes over to B&K, and it's not Soul. So this could mean that B&K can now use this Baron in order to get an insurmountable lead. There's 4 items on the Aphelios. Diablo is very scary, but now the ramp comes on through. They get the knock-up, and he gets Wild Growth. Let's see whether Diablo can stay alive in this one. I think he might just be able to. Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't quite work, and Raptor stands in front of the hook. Ona looks for the angle as Diablo gets so much health back, and Pays is going to melt as the Flame Splitter comes down. Clear sacrifices himself for his god, and his god is Diablo in this game.
Yeah, well, with a 45, 1.5 kills per minute game here, this was a lot of game. This is the kind of game where when Alexis explodes, you do truly say, GG.
Yeah, we might need to do that. Let's try and do the StarCraft thing. Sorry, the Korean caster thing as this Nexus goes down, because it absolutely deserves it. And B&K, what incredible play around the advantages that they found for themselves. They made this game their own, and there it is, GG! Alex, what a game! Oh my gosh!
And it was fiery from the start with near kill onto Vikla at level 1. Tons of attention to the bottom lane. But Faker, he was so big this game, he had 4 kills, he was never allowed to side lane, and the Pantheon value was insanely high. Killing Pays on repeat, preventing Faker from side laning, getting the teleport out of Doran, but then not hard committing. And the 2 fights where Faker's like, I'm ready to carry, I'm ready to pop off, I am a secondary scaling threat. He dies instantly both times. He has lower damage than Doran because in both critical fights on the top side there and in the jungle next to the Wolf camp, he is just deleted before the fight even breaks out. A great combo. Vikla had an amazing game. Clear, he did his job, okay? But
yeah.
Kelly and Diablo, the Wild Growth timings, Raptor and Vikla's mid-jungle synergy. This was an insane start to the series from B&K.
Absolutely incredible game from B&K. I liked the draft. I liked how they played it so much more. It was so good the way they moved around the map, and T1 are always the team that has the tempo, that understands how to use it. And B&K this time, they were reading from the same playbook. They knew exactly what was happening, and man, I hope that means so much more for the rest of this series. Time for us to take a short break. When we get back to space, and then game number 2. We'll see you soon.
오른 공 있다.
노플인 거 조심해.
걸릴 것 같으면 말 좀 해줘.
예, 궁 썼어.
할게.
나 아들을 봐줄게. 아들.
아들 터쳤어.
빅스 봐줘야 돼,
빅스
이러고.
봐줘야 돼 이러고.
야, 앞라인 봐, 이러고.
앞라인 봐봐,
앞라인
앞라인
효정 맞아줘. 나 실드 있죠.
나 뒤에서 가는 중.
천천히. 아, 2대. 천천히 빼면서.
나와 노플.
나궁 받을게, 뒤에. 나 뒤에 궁 받을게.
가보자. 끝내자.
끝났어.
디펠 볼게. 딱 끝난다 이거.
At the end, a lot of those power picks are gone. We do have the Aphelios and the Jinx, which are gone quite early, but it can shape especially how the rest of the series is going to look because Ornn is also gone, right? So Scion stocks go up if you want to play a front-to-back composition here. We'll see what does eventuate.
Yeah, so the Yunara was the first ban last time around. This time it's going to be Wukong. And so T1, I think, are going to go for a Yunara first pick, by the looks of things, based on that particular ban. The Bard will always be the first ban, I assume, from BNK, and I do not blame them for that one at all.
And the Nocturne gets banned again. So even without the Orianna, Vi will match. That makes a lot of sense.
Man, a lot of junglers being left behind.
Taliyah without Pantheon may just be out of this series. We'll see what matchups we end up getting. I think the Ryze first pick angle for Faker here is quite strong as well, if the Yunara is banned by BNK in this final spot. With Jace taking a huge hit in the jungle, that's that extra ban that you get right now. On patch 26.3, Varus is the other consideration. So what do you want to trade? Do you want to trade Varus here for the Yunara and try to outwin the lane?
I think if you ban the Varus, though, then the Yunara is kind of free because we've seen it picked into the Yunara so many times. And if you don't ban the Varus, then the Varus first pick feels a whole lot better, right? Because the Yunara is then relatively impossible to play.
I kind of feel like they should have banned Varus in this situation. But Faker's Ryze is a force to be reckoned with, and they just did not want to deal with it. And now we might see a different answer. Like, maybe BNK have a response ready for this Varus that we're not expecting here.
Maybe the Ashe Seraphine.
Maybe that could be it
again.
Kalista, I think, is probably not really what you want in this situation. So Jarvan is very good into Varus, so that's a good pick here for BNK to grab early.
I like that. Highest tier jungler on that's sort of left as well.
Maybe they just play Sivir here and try to spell shield some of that poke from Pays and look for wave clear and play around that macro in the mid game like we've seen so often.
Yep. Could be one of the options here. Then we'll just have to see what Kellen is going to be playing. The Ahri will be locked in for Vikla.
Interesting.
So Faker could go to, like, I mean, I know a lot of people like picking the Ahri into the Taliyah, but I feel like Taliyah can do relatively okay in the matchup as well.
I want to see a really strong partner for the Taliyah if that's the route that Faker wants to go. Obviously, the Pantheon is arguably the best on this meta next to Vi, who will probably be banned every game and is banned in this one. Mbessa, Taliyah, a little bit less inspiring if that is going to be the jungle pick here, but it is a strong flex for T1 right now. And they could lock in Karia's support pick to empower this Varus right now, if that's what they want to do. Would, of course, just be setting up their bottom lane blind here.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what they want to run there on that bottom side. We've seen Nautilus be probably the most popular support alongside the Varus so far.
It's very good into Ahri as well, the Nautilus, but I think it's going to be a Faker counter pick here. We just don't know what that will be. You know, Lissandra is one of those picks you always think of when you see the Ahri, but it's going to be Sylas, which has also been one of those other great ones to be able to steal the Ahri ultimate away, and it is very powerful in this draft in isolation, but we don't have the most amazing ultimates to steal yet. Like, there's not a lot of setup or knowledge about what the rest of this comp is going to be for a Sylas pick this early, but I do think it's a solid one considering the state of the draft, and you don't want to give Karia's support away this early.
Yeah, it also kind of just bans Rakan and Alistar without you actually having to ban them, which is kind of cool. The Renekton going to be locked in. That is a decent ultimate, especially these days. Can give the Sylas a lot of longevity as well as do a lot of extra damage when you are up in the face of the enemy.
The Gnar is super obvious here. It's going to try to protect this blind Renekton, make it as easy as possible for Clear to play. It's been one of his best picks this season, and they have a lot of single target blow up for this Varus right now, and it's because they have such good follow-up to a Jarvan flag and drag already. Even the Sylas can be 100-0 if caught and picked off. Same with the Mbessa. So again, we're kind of assuming this Mbessa is going to be jungle right now, and that is what BNK are doing as well. But that it could also be flexed into the top lane if Owner has something tricky up his sleeve here.
Yeah, I'll see what he does actually want to go towards is Lee Sin, speaking of which, going to be taken away.
So a bit of a catch-all here for BNK. Like, I just don't want to play against Gnar, and I don't want to play against Lee Sin specifically.
The cannon is still available though, so that could be something that Doran wants to look towards, and then there's a fair bit of physical damage in both a Lethality Varus and an Ambessa.
It's Sivir, right? It's got to be a Sivir lane.
I think it should be, and I actually think that it's great into Sylas as well. Like, On the Hunt doesn't give you massive amounts of value stolen away, and then a Mantra gives you basically nothing. So I think if it's a Sivir Karma angle that they're going for, then it kind of looks pretty good into what T1 have put down already. And so there is the Sivir locked in first. Is Carrier going to pick away the Karma? It would mean that they have next to no engage, and so maybe that is not what they're going to look towards.
Yeah, I don't think that's what you want. I think the Renata is an interesting possibility because it's very strong into their comp overall to allow them to disengage. But it's a really tough call that has to be made here. And also, we don't yet know 100% where that Ambessa is going. You take the Alistar on your side, and this is basically just essentially saying, Alistar's great into Sivir. You know, we have the Sylas on our side, and now this is fearlessly banned for the rest of the series. Feels like a very potent pick here, but for top and for jungle, Mystery's still here.
Yeah, let's see what they are going to do.
Cannon is definitely viable here. It's a lot of magic damage, but I think you can play it because it gives you insane engage, and it can be great for disengage as well into BNK.
Yeah, Carrier taking his time, figuring out what he's going to pick up for either Doran or Ona. And the Rek'Sai is coming in, so that will be the jungle Ambessa. And Poppy will be the
pretty good Poppy
lock.
angle. Like, you can, when you go for Poppy support, it's so scary unless you have all the information, right? And when you have second pick, you get to pull that card out. And Edo locks it in here. He's saying, like, okay, this is great into Sylas. It's great into Ambessa. It's obviously pretty good into Rek'Sai as well, depending on how you play it. And for zone control on objectives, if you can knock even just one or two of those threats away, your Sivir can do great work. And they have the engage as well to back it up. I think T1 have a draft that, with nameplates on, you're like, oh god, that's horrifying. Like, they got Varus on patch 26.3. Like, that doesn't seem allowed. That can't be okay. But I think the tools that BNK have, plus the playmaking we've seen from this team, it's a very BNK draft, right? It's like Diablo's on a late game carry, and the rest of the team just goes in and presses the CC. If you're a BNK fan, you're like, that's exactly what I want.
And outside of the Varus, everyone's basically melee on T1's side, and so ricochet value could be absolutely absurd. And with a Poppy there, Steadfast Presence means that closing the gap onto this Sivir could be very, very difficult. So I do like what BNK has. The problem is, just the amount of raw power on this T1 composition is very scary to deal with, and we know exactly what these players are capable of when they get their hands onto picks like this. So let's get into the rift here for game number 2. I really do appreciate that one BNK fan that screeches every time. You know, they're just trying to even it out because we know the T1 fans are just pretty loud here in LoL Park today.
In game 1, it was so much louder than it was this time that it made me make sure everything was safe. Like,
yeah, we both looked around. We're like, hang on a second.
It sounded like something nefarious had occurred, or maybe there was an insect in the building, or...
Is Insect here? That's kind of cool.
Not with Lee Sin banned, I suppose.
I assume not. All right, Diablo and Kellen doing a little bit of battle here. Obviously, the level 1 of the Alistar, not exactly going to be the most fun. And so BNK might be able to get themselves a little bit of a fun time. However, T1 do decide to go for that cheeky level 1 headbutt angle.
The good old level 1 headbutt eel that we've seen so much this season. Like, people figured out, okay, it's unplayable for Alistar level 1. You just got to use your heal and hope for the best. You just go for that one headbutt and just push them away and go heal. All right, we're going to get level 2 eventually. We'll survive this.
And now Diablo gets to just press W and make the waves disappear. Obviously, it takes a little bit longer at the early levels, but still going to guarantee the shove, as he does a pretty good job clearing out all of these minions as well. So finally, Pays gets a wave to have a look at. Faker connects some chains here onto Vikla, but he gets lit on fire, and Vikla is able to stand his ground.
Actually, really like the Ignite tech, or the heal deny especially as well, into the Sylas.
Yeah, the all-ins are actually pretty dangerous here for the Ahri.
And you have to be really careful, but ideally, you don't want to get caught by chains ever, but the Ignite buys Vikla that extra space here to win the trade anyways. But it's a big trade-off, obviously, without teleport.
Yep, and you're not a top laner, so you don't get it for free.
Yeah, at least you have home guards, I suppose.
All right, so Vikla is going to send Faker home a little bit early here, but he's just going to go for a tempo back as good steadfast presence there from Kellen, and Carrier takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, it turns out that Spell Shield's not very good into Alistar, but Steadfast Presence is.
It very much is.
Kind of covering that little base there as well.
And, oh, okay, good charm connects onto Faker here, who hasn't actually teleported yet, thank goodness, and he will now go back home.
Greeting a little bit there, but will not die.
Oh, Doran in a bit of trouble. There's the flash from Clear, and realizes that he doesn't actually have kill pressure. So that is just flash on cooldown. Doran now looking to go back home. As Raptor, Flagon, and Dragon looking to get towards Ona, who is in the river here. All right,
this
so
is
almost
a BNK game.
Stuff. Yeah,
it's a BNK game. There's no breathing room. There's no early, like, oh, let's see how this laning phase goes. It's been pretty calm, just farming it out. It's just constant aggression, but it has paid off. Well, minus the flash on the top side. That one didn't really pay off. But otherwise, it's been paying off.
Well, heal coming on through here as Pay's in a little bit of trouble. Carrier wanting to get that headbutt angle, but Kellen has steadfast presence, so it's so hard to press that W button. Oh, man. All right, BNK with retained control here towards this bottom side. And it is translating into a little bit of a lead as far as money is concerned for BNK, but nothing that's too much to worry about on the T1 side.
Hayes does have teleport, so, you know, Diablo wants to try to force these all-ins as much as he can. Used the barrier earlier. Doesn't have it anymore, but we'll have it up again soon. But because of the teleport, even if Hayes gets chunked down, can always feel pretty safe to just get back to lane for free. As Vikla, again, just trying to trade aggressively. Knight comes back, he can continue to do that as he's really pushing ahead here in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Taking a very significant CS advantage and has chipped away at the second plate. Gonna force Faker to take another early back here and doesn't have his teleport anymore. And because Vikla took Ignite, you want to be able to get this value early, and so far it is working incredibly well for him.
Yeah, this is what you need to do if you have decided to not take the teleport.
Like, look at how much Faker can potentially lose here off of this wave as well, because he has to run back. He has boots, that'll help a little bit, but so much lost money.
Yeah, home guard, pretty important for trying to avoid that, but as he said, not able to pick up too many of these. Boomerang Blade, high value there from Diablo. T1 with this wave pushed back, should be absolutely fine. Both of our bottom laners with culls in hand. As Raptor looking for that angle, in goes Kellen. And Carrier will just wander towards the Jarvan. There is the flag and drag buffered beautifully by Raptor, gets himself out of dodge. And the mid lane under control here from Faker as he does make his way back. So understandable that they don't want to go too far. As Clear with the Dominus against Doran. And the slice comes through, but Doran tunnels his way out.
Too bad.
He has to go back home.
Clear flashed earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish he had it there. But he is still going to get a pretty nice advantage from this, and will continue to hit that topside turret, so not all for nothing there, despite not having the flash to follow. Gets the flash out of Doran, and will get plate money and deny farm.
Yeah,
BNK's early game, pretty insane.
Well, there's a great knock-up as the flash charm comes through. Ona is lit on fire, and that is first blood going over to the Jarvan. Vikla avoids the chains as Faker has stolen the ulti and will find the follow-up kill. Now Carrier moving over, but is unable to get the headbutt over the wall. And does have flash, but did not want to invest it. So Faker's on the board, but so is Raptor.
Raptor picking up that kill rather than the Ahri. Ideal, but still a very aggressive play. Faker is able to trade it back, but some really nice footwork there from Vikla.
Yeah.
Luckily for him, he's not the one who dies. So that's a big chunk.
Yeah, good old Varus just being able to do a whole lot of damage. I believe that was W empowered.
Yeah, with the cull in inventory.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have a Dirk.
Not sure where that damage came from outside of pressing W. As Vikla still with the lead here in this mid lane, but let's have a look at how this all eventuated as a battle over the ward sort of started it off.
This mid-jungle synergy and the communication and how crisp they are with this, also the dodge on the chains here from Vikla, very impressive. Raptor went so deep, though, that there's no real way to get out of here. Faker flashes. Unfortunately for him, that's not going to amount to anything.
Yeah, not able to get on top, but keeping them honest, making sure that Kellen was rotating up. that is denied. Man, this Poppy is going to be such a big deal in this game. Like, so much of this rests on how Kellen plays a lot of these later game team fights with the amount of value that you can get out of the Steadfast presence and with the fact that creating space with the Keeper's Verdict is going to be so incredibly important. Owner is making his way in. Public Execution goes wide though, but the chains do connect. Good charm from Vikla, but I don't know whether he's out of dodge just yet, as he is going to get taken down. There is the Cataclysm though, as now Owner stuck inside the circle. Teleports coming in, but they're turtle ports. And oh my goodness, the takedown from this Poppy as he just heroically charges Ambessa to the Nether Realm.
Yeah, that was a pretty quick reaction there from Kellen, despite the fact that the turtle port takes forever to get in. He was able to get that punish there, and he communicates with the Raptor. That's why Raptor commits the Cataclysm and Flash to hold him down for long enough. It's a kill onto a Poppy, so not the most impactful, but it pushes Owner off of the map, which is the more powerful aspect of this.
Yep, there's also the fact that now Faker has a gold advantage.
Yes.
And that's the big deal here. T1 are making sure that Faker is going to be a menace in side lanes. And I think at the moment, it's looking like mission successful. And grubs do spawn.
It's crazy that Vikla, like, he's able to react here and dodge, but because he doesn't have Flash, obviously, he could dodge one, but, you know, you can't really get both, as Raptor does come over here quickly, flashes for the Cataclysm to hold Owner in place so that this Poppy can get something done. He actually almost gets the damage done himself with that last flag. And
yeah,
ultimately, Faker gets a lot of money, like you said.
Yep. And if Kellen actually could have stuck around and possibly got a heroic charge into the wall in turret range or something like that, it might have been an extra kill. So the fact that Raptor wasn't able to finish off Owner with that 1Q, actually kind of a big deal. As Clear once again just doing a little bit too much damage to Doran, but is taking a fair bit in turn. Still has dominance, so obviously not close to dead.
The Executioner's calling is super high value in this matchup, and he got it early with the lead that he had, and was able to really continue to apply that pressure and hurt the sustain of the Rek'Sai, something that you don't normally get to have with a pickaxe as well in inventory this early. So feeling very powerful, and it will wield the sword to its fullest effect here. As Vikla is no longer in free bully territory, has to play really well, as you can see here, to try to trade back. Raptor nearby.
Yeah. And Raptor is going to now try and challenge for this dragon. Kellen moving over. Does have the Keeper's Verdict available. Let's see whether he can use it to guarantee some position. But there's the Flash Pulverize. He does get the ulti off, but it's only onto Carrier, and he just dies. As a result, still Raptor's able to take the dragon. That could be important. Flags and Drags gets himself out. Poppy for Drake? I guess you possibly take that.
Yeah, it really depends on what soul we get, but feels pretty nice, at least initially here. As top laners both having teleport, but we're not interested in the dragon fight, which does make sense, especially because of the ability to stop said teleports on both sides. And Raptor now has his Sundered Sky. He got out, did have his flag and drag, didn't have his flash, which was a big concern for looking for that contest on the dragon itself. This Faker.
There's a big old Cataclysm. Manages to get the ulti out of Vikla here, as we do have the teleport upgrading, but we don't see the charm. Still the Cataclysm comes in, and Raptor's there to bail out his mid laner.
Man, the mid jungle today out of B&K is pretty unreal. Game one to start things off with the Pantheon Orianna, and then here on this Ahri. So many resources being given to Vikla, but man, Raptor has been everywhere. The Poppy ultimate here does push the Alistar away, but he sacrifices life, but it ends up being enough space here for Raptor to get this dragon without using his flag and drag, so he can then use it to escape. And the Raptor comes in here very late. And it's almost as if Vikla and him have been coordinated, because he was walking up mid straight up before this, right? And then Vikla misses the charm, but that's the go button for Faker. He's like, I'm going in, and look at this, just barely.
Yeah.
Not enough damage.
It's crazy because T1 pinged exactly where Raptor was at that time as well. I think they knew just how narrow that window was. The flash forward from Clear looks to take down Doran and just barely misses it once again. But it's a win flash for Flash and sends him home.
Sends him home, and he has his dominance running. He can go over here and take some additional plate money and force Doran to TP. He gets to hold on to his. A huge win here is Clear. Having a really nice performance on this Renekton. Again, like I've said, is probably his best champion this season. They gave it to him earlier. They protected it with an R-ban. It is working a treat.
Yeah, and it's not exactly the Rek'Sai matchup that you really want, right? Often Rek'Sai wants to abuse tanks. Renekton is not a tank, and so maybe not necessarily working out for that reason. As Vikla clearing out this wave quite nicely. Look at how tanky this guy is. He's got his Black Cleaver completed already. Clear ready to cut down Doran. And Vikla now freed up in this lane.
Might have our first grub of the series.
Oh, true. Okay, let's see whether they are actually taking
I'm just
3
kidding.
minutes. Yeah, Owner is no. I mean, Owner is right next to it, but I just don't think he's going to be taking it. We do have a ping out from Raptor, though. So maybe that means that B&K are going to look to take that down. Man, Diablo is almost insta-clearing waves already on this Sivir.
And, I mean, now Jarvan clearing towards top side here. Maybe he gets one. You know, I mean, you're nearby. What do you think, Raptor?
He did ping it.
He's pinging it. He's going. There's no cross map, really. So T1 going to rotate Pays into the mid lane here. Yeah. Baker's going bottom side, but doesn't have TP, and I think it should just be free grubs here. And Vika can hold this wave, and then they could swap him to the bottom lane and send the Sivir mid. As B&K, once again, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's solid macro.
Well, Diablo is in a little bit of trouble. However, Faker runs out of buttons to press as Vikla... Wow, that was a lot of damage out of Pace. Actually threw out the Chains of Corruption to make sure that that Blight was stacked up.
Yeah, unfortunately,
vision where he can.
For T1, not able to get anything huge back, but at least delay some of that swap back for the Sivir into the mid lane, and we'll be able to get plate for Pays. Pays plate goes over, and now the Ahri does go to the bottom lane. Diablo's going to come here mid. Few minions lost, so it's what T1 get in return for the 3 grubs.
That's all right. Doran is going to be feeling a little bit better now that the Titanic Hydra is completed. Clear still will be just fine, culling the Meek over and over there in that lane as Diablo parked in mid, the favorite place of the Sivir.
Likes to be there. He's not really clearing them fast. He wants to just kind of deny here a little bit, keep the wave in a safe spot, which does make sense. And we're going to have, in the next minute, that Dragon here. B&K could take a 2 Drake lead and deny a very valuable individual Drake here from T1 in that mountain. Be pretty huge for them. Pretty decent for B&K as well, just stats-wise, but for T1 it feels arguably way more valuable.
Yep. I think as well, Double Dragon would mean a whole lot in this game especially.
Yes, with the Sivir and the scaling elements that we've already discussed with that. So much extra freedom to just farm it out and ignore team fights. This game is a lot less bloody than the last one, but still a lot of action.
There's another Dominus as Raptor's going in, but so is Carrier over the other side. But trading places not quite working out. Public execution onto the Jarvan as the Cataclysm comes down. He tries to get out, but he fails. And it's Owner that takes down his opposition. Kellen's flashing. They know that they have to get out of there, and Diablo has to flash as well, as now Faker has discovered the Poppy. And I don't know whether Kellen is going to be escaping this one. The charm is going to get avoided, and Kellen should be going down. It takes a bit of Kellen to take down a Poppy, but Faker is going to get him in the end. As Clear might just take this turret and got a solo kill onto Doran, I believe, in the top lane while that was all happening.
Yeah, finally he got the kill he's been looking for all game. Finally this time the margins were there. He does not have boots, by the way, still. Ends up killing the Rek'Sai there and taking the turret out. So going back to this fight, it's a little bit bizarre. Oh, we're just going to watch this first. Let's see.
Yeah, this was when the Dominus got popped, and I was expecting Doran to just kind of tunnel, but instead he ulted and died, I think. Yeah.
I don't think he had a tunnel to use there. And then here, not 100% sure what the game plan was for this one for Raptor, because Pays is here, and Diablo's on the other side of the wall, and is not that high range on the Sivir. And then there was some shenanigans here where Kellen tries to buy time to try to deny Faker. Faker's flash is phenomenal against the charm that Vikla has over the wall here. The reaction is so crisp. Watch this.
Yeah, beautifully
He's just
done.
not going to let anything go wrong in this one, and we'll pick up the kill.
And so Rift Herald, in the meantime, is going to go over to B&K. That might help alleviate some of the issues, but Faker is problematic here for B&K. 4-1-0 on this Sylas. They've made sure that the money goes his way, and they know, I mean, Faker has won world championships with this champion. He is very, very good at getting the value out of Sylas.
Yeah, you know, it turns out the guy who's played the most champions in mid lane over the longest period of time, who has the most experience in League of Legends, can use the ultimates of other champions incredibly well.
I'm surprised he doesn't play more Viego mid, because I feel like his skill set would certainly help him there.
Yeah, you might be onto something.
We'll see whether he does get there. Viego was almost a mid laner.
It was for like 2
1
seconds.
Point. Yeah.
Remember Chovy played it fairly recently?
Yeah,
it was kind of funny.
It was that one time. And then I think it got nerfed into Oblivion, or they just realized it wasn't good. And then no one played it anymore. And that made me a bit sad, because it is a fun champion to be available on the Rift.
Viego's Q is very difficult to balance around not being in the jungle. I think that's why they have to be very careful. The balance team, that is. As a TP is going to come through here for Faker. And we're grouped around the bottom side. There's no dragon for 3 minutes. We're fighting anyways.
Yeah, Rogue Charge comes in. Carrier does have the ulti as Chains of Corruption does connect. And now Raptor well in amongst it. Public Execution not quite going to work out, but even through the Unbreakable Will, it is going to be the cow going down. Great steadfast presence there, but Kellen, I think, is still going to get taken out as Faker is just way too big in this game. Took a lot to take down the Poppy, though, and there is the shutdown onto Diablo as Faker is going to fall finally. And now you've got Raptor riding this Rift Herald into all the crystalline overgrowth in the mid lane. That is going to be BNK taking out this outer turret in mid,
the second
getting
turret of the game.
more money.
Yeah, this is a really strong position here right now for BNK.
Diablo.
And like, I don't know where he's going to send it. I guess just
just into the wall.
Into the wall. The fights, we keep watching these fights where Kellen dies, but he does so much work on this Poppy. Like, he goes in here onto Carrier to start things off, right? And the enemy jungler isn't anywhere nearby, so the punish play here during Carrier's ultimate just really isn't there. So Carrier's tanking, but they can't really get anything in return. And so many of these fights I'm watching, damage dealers on the side of T1 or junglers getting hit, and Kellen's the one who's getting hit on the other side. He's blocking for Vikla here, right? Poppy just takes so long to take out. Vikla just changes targets here initially, zones owner away, hits the charm onto Faker, and pays his solo. He can't rejoin. Then Doran TP's in to try to save the day and can offer nothing. And Kellen is just, he's everywhere in this game.
And Faker also missed the Keeper's Verdict that he'd stolen away.
Yeah.
And so actually kind of a big deal that he needed to invest so much more time to try and kill Kellen. A large reason why it looked like this Poppy survived for way longer than he had any right to. As Vikla clears out this wave. But look at the massive lead for this Crocodile. I mean, Clear is just so large in this game. And the fact that Doran isn't really able to do too much and is soon going to be staring down the barrel of a 2-item Renekton. As soon as Clear like turns up into team fights, what is Pace supposed to do?
Yeah, you know? Run away and hope that Faker's big enough. And right now, Faker's lead is significantly smaller than it was before. He's the only one with the lead here for T1 anywhere. And I just am starting to worry that this Sivir has gotten too large, too early, and the composition is just so easy to play out from here. And Vikla's having a phenomenal performance on one of his best picks.
Yeah, he's looking real good. Faker, though, is the one that's still holding a gold lead for T1. And it's just such an unknown factor. The Sylas we saw in the last fight didn't quite work out, but in the next one, it may just hard carry, you know? As Doran is going to get interrupted. It's just a little bit frustrating. I don't think he's going to be going down. But look at this. The Bash Brothers have so much health, and these two brawlers are really going to be a struggle for T1 to figure out.
We haven't talked about it too much, but Cloud Soul on Sivir.
Oh, yeah.
And on Ahri. And
I was just quietly very happy.
And, you know, it's kind of like, it's pretty big. It's obviously very good for Sylas and Ambessa and for even the Alistair as well. I mean, Cloud Soul's just really powerful, but if BNK are able to get this and buy additional time for this Sivir comp that they don't even necessarily need, it's pretty huge, but they are not set up to contest, and there's no TP for Vikla.
All right, now they're going to try and turn on to Raptor. There's the flash knock-up as Keeper's Verdict just gets rid of two of them and keeps Raptor alive. Still, the Drake is going to get rushed down, and T1 will hit Double Dragon before BNK as Faker. Okay, Charm is going to miss. Faker's reaction time is really making me feel like I should be better at League of Legends. I keep blaming the fact that I'm getting on in age.
He's still younger than you.
He is younger than me. However, his reaction time is definitely better than mine ever was, ever. You know, I could have been an infant and I would never have been able to react that well.
I am a little bit, like, the way that was played out for BNK made me feel a little bit nervous about what the rest of these fights could look like because it was a bit haphazard, but however.
All right, there's a knock-up onto Ona. As Chain's going to miss, Vikla now looking for a way to get in. Great Charm is going to connect, but the public execution is going to mitigate it completely, and down goes Raptor. Vikla should be following here as the auto is in the air from Paze, and they just wipe out
Baron.
the Fox Lady. That should be Baron, and oh dear. Oh,
yeah.
the game was there, it was on the hands, and now it's missing.
Yeah, I kind of was leading into, I'm a little bit concerned about how BNK are setting up because it's very haphazard because of things like this, right? It's a very scrappy composition that T1 have with Ambessa and Sylas, and if you give them the opportunity, they will just smash in skirmishes, even with this gold deficit, which is quite small now. as the timing on Owner's ultimate is what really is the kicker here, because he's able to mitigate the charm entirely as Vikla avoids the chains, and look at this charm, he's like, got him. But unfortunately, not only does he mitigate it, but he also takes Raptor out at the same time, and Vikla's way too deep, cannot escape. And so that's 2 kills, and that is the Baron. In the meanwhile, Clear did get that outer turret in the bottom lane, and is still a big threat on this Renekton, but T1 have taken control of this game.
Yeah, Pays now gets the evolution on his Mirror Manor at the same time. That's 3 items complete, as he already had the Edge of Night done. So this Varus is extremely scary, and you can see, like, Diablo, I believe, is building towards Lord Dom's next as well, so that's going to put back the Infinity Edge that he really wants a little bit later to 4 items. And so this Sivir is not going to be that massive threat until much later in this game, if we even get there, as T1 look to take down their first turret of the Baron.
Yeah,
you can see already the Rebel Baron power play ticking over 1,000.
That's the gold lead for T1 really for the first time, but it's more than gold that T1 will gain from this, as you mentioned, and all of this control, all of this siege, putting the Sivir on the back foot, they're going to turn that into a turret take here in mid, which is arguably the most important turret right now that T1 haven't gotten.
Well, there's Dominuses happening all over the place here as Faker is fighting against Clear. Doesn't quite find the Chain Lash, but Cull the Meek not exactly doing exactly what it wants. As Faker gets flashed on here, Clear looks for the angle, and he gets sliced and diced!
The only way
Clear cleans him up!
The only way Clear wins that is buying enough time, and he's even getting the TP out.
Oh, man.
The only way he wins that is if he gets enough from his Dominus to actually get the Empowered W. He knows that. He flashes on Faker. Faker does not react. The Empowered W takes him down. That was a really good judgment there from Clear in that moment. Knows his Dominus is ticking, knows he can get that W off. That's all he needs. Faker looks pretty frustrated on the player cam there because that was a huge opportunity. He thought turned against him completely. He's 2 levels down because Clear's finished his quest a long time ago, and it's quite massive on this Renekton.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where, I mean,
you feel it.
Yeah, Faker presses tab a lot, right? But he maybe wasn't focusing on the fact that Clear had gotten a gigantic lead in this game. And so maybe had some choice words for Doran afterwards. He's like, what did you do to this crocodile, man? Let's have a look at this one more time, as honestly, it wasn't like that. It was very close to Faker actually winning out on this trade.
6, 5, 4. He needs it so desperately, right? Gets the Empowered Q, backs away, waits for his Fury, and waits for his W. Flashes on, gets the W, Qs him, and has enough damage there with the Slice and Dice coming up at the last possible second. Clears judgment, insane in this moment. And then takes the teleport out.
Just gorgeous. Also doesn't take the cannon because he knows that otherwise he'd die. Everything about it just gorgeously well played. And so this Renekton, certainly the big boss here for B&K. 3 items now done for Diablo as well, as the Lord Doms is now complete.
This Ambessa is kind of crazy big as well here for T1. Like, Endless Hunger, an item that I think Riot built for champions like Ambessa, but junglers don't always have the income required to have that. But he also has the Death Stand, so he's difficult to kill, is going to be dashing a lot, is going to be doing massive amounts of damage when his Shojins is constantly stacked as well. Like, this is Ambessa's dream, these 3 items all together. And with Sylas there as well, Diablo has to be very careful about how he's positioned. It's going to take a long time to cut through that front line.
Yeah. All right, let's see whether B&K can find themselves a team fight, though. That's going to be the question, as Vikla has to throw down the ulti. Doran a little bit frustrating here on the sidelines, but does have his ultimate on cooldown as well. Maybe isn't going to be quite as dangerous in team fights. Still, this is going to be sole point for T1 if they're able to lock down this dragon. And they do pull it out, and I don't see too much of a contest here out of B&K. Let's see whether Raptor can go for a bit of a steal, as Keeper's Verdict just gets cancelled immediately.
Yeah, they just want to knock on our way to steal one. That doesn't work. They just back off. They were just hoping for Keeper's Verdict into a little flag and drag action. Maybe they can get the punish.
Yeah, as Chains of Corruption connects onto Kellen, he just absorbs so much damage, and is now just not really going to be a factor here in this fight as Doran tries to save this turret. These minions just die so quickly. Faker in a side lane, though.
Yeah.
This is the problem. T1 can just sort of build the clock.
Faker also, I think, I'm not sure if he should stay here because there's company coming. His top laner has teleport.
Yeah, and we know that just the Crocodile is a dangerous one. Now there's a Jarvan there as well. Teleport's coming in, Cataclysm goes down, and now with this teleport coming through, Doran does have a large shield, but I don't know whether he's going to have it for very long. And in fact, it just immediately evaporates. He now has to tunnel his way out. And with On the Hunt, there is a chance that BNK can even catch up to this Rek'Sai, although Raptor is going to find it with the flash. Doran now gets a little bit of a knock-up, though, and does have the ulti back off cooldown, and Clear is there with the Ruthless Predator, and down goes the Rek'Sai.
BNK out-macroing T1?
Oh dear, and maybe it's not over, as Owner is going to discover Clear and then just dashes away, Ambassador style.
Like, everything about what BNK just did, beyond like the kill they get onto Faker, Doran's TP is late, he dies, just an extra donation, but the way they set up that Dragon as well, we're like, all right, let's see if we can get the Keeper's Verdict steal. Also, Sivir's pushing mid, we're gonna get plates, we're threatening the mid turret, we're doing all this at the same time, and then we're gonna be able to get the punishing onto Faker if he stays. Faker decides not to take his Empowered Recall, because he has Empowered Recall, right? And he doesn't want to use it here, and he's like, maybe I could stay, get something out of this, because Doran has TP. But this Renekton, I thought we made it clear, pun intended, that this guy is just gonna do damage too quickly, and then Doran is just a wet noodle in this game, so he shows up and he's like, oh god, well at least I'm Rek'Sai, I can get out, right? But unfortunately he doesn't really have tunnels set up on this side of the map, and Raptor catches him here, and he will also fall.
It was actually almost enough damage there, but Clear with the buffed W means that there was no way that Doran was going to do anything at all. So really nicely played from BNK to make sure that they could get both of those kills. They've been invested to make sure that it happens.
Those kills mean that they can get some vision around Baron now and potentially start to threaten turns off of this, and they will do exactly that right now. Faker still has TP.
Yeah, Doran is towards the top side as well, so he can rotate down, but they're going to have to get a move on. As Raptor realizing he's the only one in the pit.
I think they just wanted Faker's TP, and T1 do not take the bait. Oh, I see that. Faker does actually, in fact, TP into mid.
And he finally has level 3 hijack as well. So that Dominus will be doing as much as Clear's. The last couple of times he picked a fight with the Crocodile, it was one level behind, which really is a big deal. And now he's got a Sterix Gauge. He's level 18, moving very swiftly towards level 19. Sterix, one of those items that really does work better when you have way more levels than everyone else.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy how levels can impact items like that. And the value of this Executioner's Calling into the Rek'Sai was quite huge. It's pretty good into the Silas as well.
And the Ambessa.
Yeah,
who has a death stance first. Yeah. So it kind of doing more than you'd expect.
Yeah, maybe he should finish it.
Could, or could just like, maybe it's just like one of those things, you know, it makes you feel even better if it's just an Executioner's Calling for the entire game.
Yeah, I guess, I don't even know if there's a, tooltip for the heal denied, probably not. But,
oh yeah, like that counts how much healing is denied?
You'd be like, just putting that in the post game, by the way, look at how much value for gold I got.
Yeah, just like stop pinging it over and over again. Heck yeah.
But getting a GA would also feel really nice, because it's very difficult to kill him, and killing him a second time just sounds kind of out of the question, unless the fight is won despite it.
Yep.
As we do have the Shadow Flame done for Vikla now. He has been behind Faker a lot of this game, but still made a lot of impacts with his charms. And for the rest of this game, it's really about, can T1 secure Cloud Soul or win a team fight on the Dragon to then get Baron to kind of close this one out. I think that's what T1 need. In terms of gold, it's 1.3k at 30 minutes, not the biggest gold lead. Nothing really to write home about.
Yep, and we do actually have those healing reduced numbers. 2,763 health.
That's a lot.
That's quite a lot.
And over 300 regen.
Yep, not too bad. So T1 now set up around this Dragon that is going to be coming up in 25 seconds. BNK finally actually here to fight for it, not wanting T1 to get a free soul. I think that makes a lot of sense. And let's see whether Diablo can actually make himself known here on the map, because so far, a bit of a quiet game for the Sivir this time.
This is
As
really,
in game one, he was definitely one of the main characters.
It's really tricky for T1 to fight this out, because the positioning of Diablo is so good. Look at Owner wrapping around, trying to find an angle onto this AD carry. They need to kill Diablo. That's the only target they want.
Ooh, great charm going to connect that onto Owner. Not able to buffer any public executions this time.
Look at Clear's positioning as well. He's also threatening on the flank.
Yep. And does have the Cloud Rift there as well to make sure that he's real speedy. As Doran gets the knock-up, as he has to slice to get out of the way, but there's the keeper's verdict now on cooldown. Gets rid of Doran here in this moment. Public execution comes down. Steric's not quite going to be enough. However, he does slice his way out even through the exhaust. But now going to have to be teleporting back into this fight, and the Dragon has already been started here by T1. Kellen looking for an angle. Vikla dives in, gets the charm onto Faker, and then gets himself out. Faker steals away his ultimate, though, as now Diablo having to flash, but he'll be taken out as Pace snipes him from the back line. He'll get rid of the Poppy as well, and now Faker's popping off, getting those resets, and finally Clear comes back in, but he's alone. T1's team fighting just too good in the end, and it's only Raptor that lives to tell the tale.
Vikla's gambit of going in there, looking for Faker, absolutely does not pay off, and it's in that moment the rest of T1 get on top of Diablo. And their objective in this fight was to secure Dragon. They didn't need to win the fight. They were trying to zone. The initial setup was really good here for BNK. Kellen also using his keeper's verdict very early, and I think he really will regret this choice because he only gets Doran and now can no longer affect the zoning here or really positioning of anybody to try to win the war of attrition to secure Dragon. Dragon's so healthy, BNK aren't looking for a flip anymore, and they get a little bit indecisive here. And Raptor, look at, he's hanging out. He wants to try to look for the steal. Then Vikla goes in here, and look at who's now opened up. It's Diablo. Doran gets on top of him. He's showed back up in the fight. The follow-up is easy. And T1 get Cloud Soul and Baron. And I think that is likely enough for them to tie us up 1-1.
Yep, that's feeling pretty lights out here for B&K, who just didn't have the same level of cohesion that we'd seen throughout the rest of this series in that team fight. The fact that On The Hunt got 0 value because they hear the Sivir get real loud and yelling and stuff like that, T1 then immediately back away. And B&K weren't able to then turn that into something like a Dragon take for themselves or anything like that. T1 just bide their time, come back, take them down. So B&K back to the drawing board here. They still have a scary team fighting composition as it's a great charm to connect onto Faker. It's not looking too consequential at this point in time, and these spirit rushes that Faker has been using have been pretty diabolical.
Pretty horrifying. Silas speedy. And with Cloud Soul, it's pretty insane. IE's done for Diablo. He's going to have to put it to good work here on this defense. Sivir can buy you so much space against Baron because her wave clear, as you can see on your screen and with your eyes right now, is pretty bonkers. But it's still not going to... Okay, hold up. Diablo, no.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see is Diablo. I don't think he's going to be able to spell shield that one as Raptor looks to try and put Faker into the Cataclysm, and it does not work. This is game over, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot have a Sivir step that far forward. As Clear says, yes, in this game I was very fed, but unfortunately if my whole team dies, I cannot do it alone. That's going to be the ace, and T1 just go from winning a team fight to game over in the click of your fingers.
Yep, that's all it takes. And poor Diablo, he cleared that wave really hard.
He did.
But he could not clear the champions.
No, and maybe he didn't need to clear the wave quite that hard.
It's crazy when you watch the collapse onto him, because AD carries are so strong right now and they do so much damage. Oftentimes if your team is fully ahead, like if T1 were 4K down and they try to make that play, maybe he just kind of gets collapsed on, kites back, and they all die. But it wasn't that type of scenario, right? You can see in that moment, you're like, can he actually? No, he cannot. But he did a lot of damage, and he was the only damage threat, and then they lost the game. But I respect the Diablo in him, looking for the angle. And T1 with a really nice play there on the Dragon. And some missteps, I think, for B&K, frankly, around the keeper's verdict. Vikla trying to go in, looking for the Dragon steal, meant that not only do they lose the Dragon, but they lose the team fight, they lose the Baron, and they lose the game.
Yeah, and we were saying about the amount of pressure that was on Kellen. I think later on in the game, the keeper's verdicts just didn't quite find the angles, and it meant that T1's Phalanx was just able to stay together. They were able to push forward. Paze was just shooting wherever he likes, as you can see here, almost doing as much damage as the incredibly fed Renekton in this game. And we know Renekton, even though he's got a lot of scales, scaling isn't quite his forte. It's a little bit ironic there. But it is now time for us, ladies and gentlemen, to take a short break. When we get back, the Space is going to break down that game number 2, and then we are going to have a best of 3 from here. Guaranteed at least another 2 games, and that is exactly what we wanted to see. We'll see you back here for game number 3 real soon.
너네 미드 올 수 있냐 지금?
못 가.
우리 못
여기
가게.
유지하는 게 나을 것 같아 우리. 오케이.
다음 라인에 그냥 공수만 타면 볼래?
야나 라인 하나만. 오케이.
라이브
가자, 우리.
가능한가?
텔로 올게. 나 텔로 있어.
아,
야 11로.
뭐야, 얘?
뭐야 이거?
난 좋아.
11로 잡았어. 11로 잡았어.
네 나랑 넣어줘.
들어가면 될 듯?
네 있어.
왜 노블이야?
Between us, and we do have a side switch. As first pick will now go over to BNK VRX, and T1 will jump on over to the blue side. So we'll see how things develop now with first pick on the cards for BNK.
My big thing here for what I'm most worried about for BNK for the rest of this series is they're not going to get their hands on Vi. Proactivity in terms of the comps that are left available is a little bit tougher when some of these picks are gone, right? Like the clear Renekton, which was incredible in Game 2, is now fearlessly banned, right? The Ahri is gone. That's one of Vigla's best. Like their playstyle is quite hindered as we go deeper into the series, and also with T1 being very aware of their playstyle and how they like to draft for early mid-game and skirmishes makes it a little bit face up. So we'll see what they do in terms of adaptation. I think there's still a lot of really strong picks left for Diablo. You and I were talking about how Sivir doesn't really necessarily give him the big outplay opportunities that all the other picks like Ezreal, for example, the Inara that's banned against him, the Lucian that's banned against him have.
Yep.
And he is eating T1's bans at least here now on blue side. Or on first pick.
There were a lot of jungle bans in the last game. Wukong, Nocturne, Vi, all of them taken away. None of them have been taken away this time. Finally, the Nocturne is going to get taken off the board. We'll see what the answer is going to be. I imagine a Vi ban is probably on the cards here if they want to stick to sort of the tier list. See whether they have anything else in mind as the first pick for BNK. That is going to be the big question mark for me. What can they get their hands on that they feel is the highest priority this time around?
It's a tough question. The Rise is still available. So
that could be the one.
And I think that is probably where we're headed just because it's the strongest pick in the meta that's left available that clears waves, does tons of damage, safe inside, it's good at collapsing. It does so many things that it's kind of required. I feel like a lot of mid laners would look for the counter pick Cassiopeia in this situation, but I think T1 are a little bit more clever than that. Like they're going to look for something a little bit stronger in terms of the overall composition. So I wouldn't expect that to be slammed down right away, but instead something here for Dorn. I say necessarily you're not going to see a pick right away. It's not the Cassiopeia, it's the Anivia.
Yeah, we've seen
Faker.
this into the Rise many times. In fact, I believe Showmaker played it into Faker, which kind of went okay early and then really poorly later on. Wukong going to be a consideration as well, as a bit of a circular theme is beginning as far as ultimate abilities are concerned.
It does seem like really only Chovy has been able to consistently get the value out of the Anivia so far.
Kind of making it look pretty broken on his side. But now, what are BNK going to do? I imagine you could lock in a bottom lane here. In theory, give Diablo and Kellen something powerful. Might be able to find that. Or you could just look to lock away your top side of the map and feel powerful there. Could be like a Rise type rotation, but we'll see what Raptor wants to do instead. Okay,
looking for the Ashe lane here to dominate bottom side. Ashe Seraphine wins every lane, unless you get ganked after you push way too far up. But it's Wukong, so he can't gank. He's Wukong, you're fine. Actually feels pretty smart when you think about that, as well as the fact that the Seraphine could just stop the Wukong in his tracks when he does try to get on top of your AD carry or your mid lane Rise that scales really well. And I think this is really the most blindable bottom duo that you could ever ask for. And it feels pretty safe here. And with the jungle pool thinned out as it is, it's not like Raptor was looking for a prio pick just yet. As Gnar, a little less blindable.
Cannon Blind is an interesting one, but now they can actually protect it. See what they are going to ban away as far as that is concerned, or whether they're just going to ban away junglers. I imagine Raptor pretty keen to get back onto the Lee Sin, something like that. We've seen Mundo paired alongside the Ashe Seraphine. That was brought out by D+. Didn't work, but they're against Gen G.
I do think the Lee Sin will be banned because it makes high impact early where Wukong cannot. And if an Ashe Arrow hits, or a Seraphine Root hits, or a Rune Prison hits, you don't miss the Q because they can't move. So
yep, I like the ban.
Does make a lot of sense. Very impactful pick. I think they expected this. I do think there's real legs and a potential Sejuani pick here for Raptor as well, even though it's not really his preferred play style because of the Ashe and the Seraphine here. It does feel incredibly easy to set up and to even shut down a Kennen, for example, if you can ult him when he's trying to set up for his flanks.
Yep. I do think it's kind of difficult to go for a Sejuani just because you're likely to pick ranged into the top lane. I guess Jace could do both, but we haven't really liked the Jace too much.
Jace is the only pick I'm thinking about right now. Okay, Aurora was one that wasn't on the top of my head, but is also a good pick here. The Jace, though, doesn't give you any frontline at all in this draft, and so can do quite well in the individual matchup, but isn't really going to help your Ashe find success later on. The Karma ban is just saying, we win the lane no matter what. So are you playing Jhin? Are you trying to play Kalista, like we saw yesterday, which was crazy, but they pulled it off with help of Canyon?
Yeah. I think they might have been considering a Ziggs, but then it would have been way too much magic damage.
Yeah, Ziggs is tough with the Cannon top side.
So it's going to be Jhin. No Jhin Bard in this game, unfortunately, as Brad has been banned, as it always is against Carrier. Now, what is our top jungle going to look like here?
Is he just going to play Gnar?
Could be.
That would be, I think, okay,
Yone,
they're playing Sejuani.
top lane.
They're playing Yone Sejuani. It's happening, Atlas.
I mean, or Yone Tree. Man, this is so much setup, CC. Holy moly.
That's pretty creative. I like it.
Yeah, and Yone's a lot of damage as well. So Yone Ashe for the physical damage, as well as then you've got Maokai and Ryze doing a fair bit of magic. Does mean that the mid jungle for BNK is a little bit suspect.
There is not one single pick that Carrier wants to play in this game.
Well,
Janna,
he's gonna have to play something. Rakan is the choice.
Feels good here, but Rakan feels good to follow up on Cyclone in the lane. That is to say, like nothing.
The problem is
in the lane.
then a Maokai in the game.
Yeah.
So then you just get twistedly advanced.
He is going to have to find some crazy angles, which also means that they're probably going to have map control, which means they're going to have vision, which means that this...
Oh, it's a top lane Ryze. I actually kind of love this.
Yeah.
I do feel like Vikla is going to have a very rough time, but this does mean that mid-jungle situation looks a whole lot better. And now this makes more sense to me.
Yeah, also because Vikla's going to be able to play the Yone into the Anivia, it's pretty easy for Yone to kind of avoid Anivia's harass and the wall and stuff like that with his Unbind. Does make some sense, and with some jungle attention, actually can punish the Anivia incredibly well. I do wonder about Clear's experience on this pick, though, right? We see Ryze played almost exclusively by Keen in the top lane.
Yep. And
we've seen it for other players like Khan in the past. Some retired players have definitely played it in the past, but Mastery is going to have to be high here to pull this off, because you can't... Yes, you will probably win the lane and do fine up there, mitigate that lane pretty well, even if you don't have Mastery, but it's about team fights later on that I'm more concerned about. You really need to be able to pump out that damage.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what is going to be put forward here, because it's a very cool draft. Whether it works is a completely different question. Let's get on to the Rift here for game number 3. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for our third game of this series. As Owner is going to put down the Hide-On Bush, and the Hide-On Bush is unfortunately going to be taken out. All right, Vikla sidesteps. No Flash Frost for Faker this time. And now the test. I'm going to have a look and see how many times Clear has played
that's the question,
Ryze more recently. I did lose on one a couple of days ago. But otherwise, not too much in his recent history.
As level 1 fighting into Ashe Seraphine.
Yeah, it's always a rough time. However, they are giving back as good as they're getting. Ish.
Maokai also did get buffed with his Q damage by a flat 10 across all ranks.
Not too bad.
So, checkmate T1.
I think you should probably be able to farm at least as fast as Wukong, who is not necessarily the speediest Clear in his first couple of routes. But BNK, just doing what this lane is supposed to do. You need to be pushed up as far as possible. If Owner goes for a level 3 gank on Wukong, I imagine BNK will not be expecting it, because I don't think any of us are. He is clearing towards his top side, though, so isn't too worried about it.
And they hawkshot.
They have hawkshot, so I guess they'll just never have to worry. Vikla is Yeah,
It's tough
how
for
he
the first
started
few levels.
in game 1, and they won that game. So maybe this is exactly where Vikla wants to be.
Tough when you don't have all your buttons.
Does finally unbind the soul. Gets the knock up onto Faker there, so a bit of extra damage back. Nicely done.
Bit of a win
Kennen
streak.
continues to win.
Yeah, doing pretty well. Clear 2 of those wins. We'll be playing against the Kennen in this case. Yeah, this is, I don't like watching this, but it is what we have to do because this is what B&K's bread and butter in this draft is just to win the lane, get the prio,
God.
get the control. And Maokai dive would be quite difficult to pull off, but they have done a lot of damage.
And he does have the ability to go untargetable, so juggling of turret aggro could be a thing. But we'll just see. We do have now Pays going back home. Was looking a little worse for wear. 9-21 in the CS margins. Man, this is a rough time. And of course, they picked the Rakan alongside this Jhin. Like, it was always going to be difficult. The ban on the Karma, I think, was a bit of a masterstroke to make sure that T1 couldn't actually stand toe-to-toe. As Doran hasn't teleported yet, so he's able to use his health bar here quite nicely. As Faker finds a great stun. Ona's coming in. Vikla is taking the right direction out. But let's see, as Raptor is going to move on over, the kitty cats are getting mad, and Faker has a few minions that are angry at him. So it looks like the Yone is going to be okay, and Raptor, in his pajamas, just going to look for the monkey.
Yeah, I don't think Faker should back there.
Oh, it didn't take the extra damage there, Wolf.
Clean.
No extra 10 for Ona. As flash forward! Gets him into the egg, and out goes Vikla. Unbinds that soul as there's the arcane smash. Ona gonna have to put up that decoy, and now Faker eggless.
Egg for flash?
A little in danger.
Definitely can be worth it, I think, for the Yone that's going to become a bigger problem once he starts to get some items and obviously gets his ultimate. So, well played by Vikla. I think calling worth, especially because Yone doesn't really use his flash defensively in a matchup like this almost at all unless he makes a mistake. So it was very good for him. Didn't have to flash when the gank came through. Actually played it very slowly, played through Raptor, so held his flash and was able to use it aggressively there on the return. And Raptor will even get this camp.
Yep, stealing away the Raptors. That sounds like something he wants to do, as Diablo looking a little worse for wear here in this lane. Does still have his barrier up and available as Pays almost with that cleanse back.
Yeah, it's a boots advantage for Pays. That's really all he has with that back he got earlier. So,
yeah, nice little knock up here as Kellen in a little bit of trouble. Does have to flash to get himself out of the way as somehow that beat drop does nothing at all. Meanwhile, Ona is going to discover Raptor here in his jungle. The bird is moving down though. And Arcane Smash, there's that extra 10 damage, baby.
There you go.
And
I think he's dead.
He's going to look for it. There's a twisted advance and the Arcane Smash! It's called Bramble Smash now, ladies and gentlemen. It hasn't been Arcane Smash for a very long time, as now Faker is looking to try and get that kill back. Oh, Raptor gets the level up! And he's able to stay alive. Look at that. Cool, calm, and collected in the PJs. And just strolls his way out.
This is just such a performance out of B&K today. Everyone is firing on all cylinders.
Honestly, like everyone on the Rift today. Like this is just, it's just some pretty high-level League of Legends. And I'm really enjoying it.
I want to say, like for T1, they came in as the favorites. We expect them to be on all cylinders, right? We expect this undefeated team to come in here and pop off and do well. And even the Korean analysts who were saying B&K greater than D+ and stuff like that weren't expecting them to take. Most of them take wins here.
I mean, I said the same thing on the Pog State. And I predicted T1 3-0.
And now we're here watching Raptor go for these crazy plays. Has the ward as well, which is super helpful here. Gets on top of him with the flash and takes him out before Faker can impact the play. And Faker's wall is just a little bit too short.
Oh, man.
Raptor gets the level up as well, but less impactful ultimately. And poor Faker, not able to make anything of it. So feels like highway robbery.
Yeah, still able to, you know, stay like right next to the CS numbers of Vikla and things like that. So nothing to worry about as far as the laning phase is concerned. But it is the Maokai getting away with murder. It is the dangerous thing.
He lived with 6 HP.
Moving forward. And
now he has his ult.
He's just hunting this Wukong over and over again.
And he knows, guess what? The owner doesn't have his ult, so you can just play around this super aggressively.
And don't fight Raptor around the Raptors. His name is Raptor.
Doesn't have smite, so...
Yeah, doesn't seem to worry about it.
Owner might not know that, so I suppose can't actually challenge for that, because if he gets it, he gets 6, and maybe they can make a play, but Yone has Prio. Atlas, this is a bit of a strong start here with the Prio in these lanes. The Rise is winning too.
Oh, okay, there's the ulti from Vikla, finds Faker here, and that's a solo bolo for Vikla, and he walks his way out. And in the meantime, the smite is going to go over to Owner. He does finally find level 6 as Twisted advances onto a clone. But BNK, man, they took that last game personally.
They really did. And this is such an early lead, 2,000 at 7.5 minutes.
It's the year of Vikla, Wolf. I think it's the year of Vikla again.
Yeah, I think it might be.
It took a little bit of time off, but now I think it's the time. It's the year of Vikla again.
And Clear, we haven't
missed a whole lot of minions. Maybe it's not the year of Vikla anymore.
Whatever, he gets the champion. That's the one that you want. We haven't looked at the top lane matchup, but Clear has generated the advantage that you want to see with that swap of the Rise into the top lane. And for Vikla as a player, it's always the aggressive picks you're excited about, right? It's the Yones, the Akalis, the Aris, right? He got the flash to get the egg earlier, and now he knows no egg.
Yep, and he already called it as well. Gets the knock-up, gets that perfect setup, and just knows. As meanwhile, we've got Clear in a bit of trouble here towards the top side of the map. Flashed, but that is not going to get him out of dodge. As now, the return on the bottom side, as there is the Nature's Grasp. The Encore comes through, good flash from Pays, goes right over the top, but the beat has been dropped. Still, Pays survives with 100 health. The arrow going to connect the splash damage. Not enough, and Carrier blocks the volley. And the curtains are now getting called. Flash out there from Diablo as Raptor gets the interrupt. And Diablo, can you actually get any of the kills here as BNK looks to try and turn this around? If at first you don't succeed, try again. And there are no teleports to try and get under here. There's the high note, and that's the double kill for Kellen.
Raptor doesn't pick up aggro, he doesn't touch him, and he gets away. And more than the kills going over the Seraphine is you've taken the bottom duel off of the map here, and further farm is denied. Hayes also down both summoners, but his flash was incredible. We're going to go all the way back to this play here where Clear is just a little bit too far up in the lane, but this means that they could just press the go button on the bottom side. Clear played it about as well as he could have there. And then here, it's the first ultimate for Raptor of the game, and look at how this is played by T1. Carrier blocks, Pays, flashes. I mean, that is really hard.
Cleanses the Nature's Grasp and then flashes the Encore. It doesn't get much better than that.
And then the arrow is blocked by Carrier, and Pays is like, okay, surely they can't. And then he gets up, he cancels ult, so he doesn't get hit by the sapling.
Yeah, exactly. The little cat was chasing him. That could almost have been enough because Raptor has gone damage for the first item.
Exactly. And then Raptor is coming in here to try to take the turret, or to take the aggro. It's not even necessary. It's a double for Kellen.
Yeah, Diablo was able to take that first turret shot. They got the reset, so it's not doing that massive amount of ramp damage. As now Clear and Doran continuing to fight. Slicing Maelstrom comes in here as Clear looking to escape, and is going to be able to do so with that Realm Warp. As Doran still looks for it, he just finds the solo! Oh, that was a mistake there from the Rise. Meanwhile, we've got another team fight happening as the Nature is grasping one more time. And Vikla, just barely out of range. And Vikla does take a lot of damage back here from Faker, who finds that combo. Flash Frost does go wide. As
we're going again.
Oh dear. They are in the fog of war.
And Raptor does not have his ultimate, so I think he should be able to get this recall off. Although Diablo could snipe him. Too slow. Yeah, Kellen misses as well. Also, I mean, his miss, he's just slow.
Needed a little bit more BPM.
Yeah, the problem in the top lane is, can they redive this onto Carrier? He has Ghost.
Well, he is going to press that button. Look to make his way out. Raptor is just going to look to try and guarantee himself a extra plate here. That should be going down. BNK doing exactly what this bottom lane wants to do. Continue shoving.
Clear.
That's a 30 CS gap. Clear did just die twice. This is probably going to be a third time. And getting money for Pays could be a good thing, as Doran misses all of that farm.
I think Doran didn't sell this very well. I think Clear is pretty aware something's going on, and obviously Pays doesn't come back for a while. This does not feel good for T1. They need to make something happen here, because they're going to lose their bottom turrets. They need a cross map. There's the TP from Carrier. They are going to go for the dive.
Yeah, well, Clear doesn't have any minions to worry about, but the curtains have been called, and the rest of T1 are here. Let's see whether the DDR is going to work.
Arrow coming.
As the slow comes on through, yes, the arrow is going to ascend. That does connect onto Carrier. Fair bit of damage back, but Pays is still able to lock that one down. And yeah, that is just a little bit of an overloading of the top side of the map there for T1. And Diablo, in the meantime, just takes that first turret off the map. And it is still a 3,000 gold advantage for BNK.
This was a massive win for BNK. That was just desperation from T1 to try to get FaZe something. FaZe is just like, I give up trying to play the game on the bottom side of the map. I'm going to go top side there. They get clear, but it takes so much to do it. And look at how long it's going to take them to take this turret down as well.
Man, this is kind of absurd. It's, what, a 40 CS lead here for Diablo? And he's now got 3 daggers. He's full build. My goodness. Kraken Slayer done, though. That's obviously the main thing. So this Ashe is very frightening. Ulti comes through here from Vikla, looking to try and grab another egg out of Faker. Gets the knock up from the Q as Raptor's moving over. Not in range of the Twisted Advanced. But the Kitty Cat gets a little bit angry.
This is not a comfortable position for Faker, despite having his passive. This looks like it might just be enough to get the prio to guarantee the Dragon. They're going to even take more vision away here in the jungle.
Pretty high value soul as well, as it's Ocean and Chemtech, our first 2. As out goes Vikla. Doran is pretty scary. Slicing Maelstrom comes through, but the rest of BNK are making their way over. That's a solo. And so BNK not going to be able to do too much of anything at all without Vikla on the map. Man, Doran is kind of taking names.
Doran's kind of like, are we sure we lost game 1 to these guys? They keep kind of coming near me and I press R and they die. I'm not really doing anything skillful. I'm killing them. And Doran's just the punish guy today as we're going to see a fight.
Yeah, they're going to look for the angle here as the Encore does come on down. That is going to interrupt the engage, but Owner is already dead. Diablo gets so much of his health back with that surround sound and a huge shield from his barrier as well. That's clear, locking down the kill onto Carrier. The flash from Faker really wanting to take down Diablo. But the Ashe is looking to try and kite. The beat drops, and he's down to the egg once again. Diablo stands strong, and BNK find another team fight.
Find you a support who watches Diablo like Kellen does.
Absolutely.
Hey, this guy has Echoes of Helia online here, and he's going to pick up a bunch of extra gold. He got the double kill early on in the game. He's looking for that 2-item spike on this Seraphine quite early. Vikla is just greedy here, but this is impactful because Doran uses his ultimate to get the solo, so doesn't have it for the follow-up fight here. And I think if he did, this could have looked a little bit different. Obviously, Yone would have been involved as well, and it would have been both sides having extra tools. But look at this. Charm comes through.
Immediate stun as well, as the arrow was just straight away from Diablo.
And then the shield comes through, and there's no one who can get on top of him. FaZe cannot get in range because everyone is protecting the President, and the President is Diablo. And Faker flashes for the chase here, and then Kellen gets him rooted up. Diablo kites it out, the egg comes through as Vikla shows back up, and Diablo even picks up the kill.
Oh man, look at his health bar. Goes down to 200, then gets the barrier and the surround sound from this Seraphine.
I didn't even quite realize that he just barely got over the wall as well. He knows the range. He's begging, asking for help for Kellen. Kellen does help. I want to watch Kellen's first-person view on this one as well. But man, if he gets hit by that wall as well, he's doomed. It's just barely out of range. Insane.
Really nicely played. And now, this outer turret in a bit of trouble as he procs the Q, and Diablo should be able to grab it. There it is.
I think we don't have a lot of game on our hands in this one.
Yeah, the game has drifted over to the other side, as now Vikla is trying to get a little bit back here as Doran, another ulti comes on through. This time, Vikla out of range as he rebinds, but Owner is going to move on over. Let's see whether Vikla can at least kill the minion wave before he does go down.
BNK, I think it's Doran's birthday.
Yeah, I think so. That is going to be Vikla going down.
Doran's like, what are they doing? I'm getting confused.
I mean, he's been like 100% kill contribution top laner is not what I had on my bingo card.
As they are going to get this this Herald BNK on the other side of the map, so it's not a huge win for T1, but Doran is quite large. Has TP, but obviously no ultimate, and there's no fight here in this one, so it is going to be a big objective going over. The mid turret is already gone, though, so this feels more like a denial for BNK more than a huge win. They can use it to secure top turret or get Dragon Prio later on. Doran himself is going to get some additional plate gold here, but I think a Kennen alone does not maketh the win for T1.
There is no exhaust, so that's something. Means that this Slicing Maelstrom will get value. But the problem is there are quite a few ways to keep the Kennen at bay. Doran going to be relying on Flash Dash Cannon to get in there, get that ulti in the right position. And we'll see whether BNK can play around it effectively. Storm Surge is finally done here for FaZe, but Diablo is so close to item number 2, which is a little bit ridiculous. And probably has enough money for it now, but is instead intent on farming, close to a 60 CS gap. 55 right now on the cards. As there is Fan Dancer done, and a Crit Cloak as well.
Jhin is not a champion that does a lot of sustained damage. We know this.
Yeah.
This Jhin with a Storm Razor only against the Phantom Dancer.
Did I say Storm Surge before? I apologize.
If you did, I think
that is a different item. Vikla built that in the last game,
but
that's not what it was.
He is really just not going to be hurting anyone. Like, he's looking for roots, okay? I am kind of like wrapping my brain around how T1 could possibly ever get back in this game. And
I mean, in Doran we trust. That is what T1 has to use as their mantra in this game.
But when Doran, like after Doran's ult is gone, as long as he doesn't hit 5 people, who follows up? Faker is it's gonna be a while before he's really putting that damage down. It takes a long time for him to do that damage. His wall could cut somebody off. You know, there's a Cyclone angle. If Diablo makes a huge mistake or gets greedy or just, you know, does the Diablo thing where he's like, I'm just gonna walk into that brush because I'm fed and I'm gonna make it happen. You know, maybe those are the ways back into the game. Doran has been doing a good job of punishing some of the BNK members who have not respected the fact that he's massively ahead in this game over his opposition, but I don't know what that means outside of like Vikla messing up and getting caught by a Q stun.
Yeah. Well, he is going to get caught by a Grand Entrance, as Ona is just like, why, Carrier? Why did you bring him over here? As never mind, Vikla is just going to snap back. Doran is there, and I think BNK do know that the cannon is frightening.
They potentially drop Herald here to hold prior for this Infernal Soul point.
Yeah, this Herald has actually been held on to for quite some time here for Raptor. As Kellen doesn't quite get the beat drop on to Carrier. Raptor moving over though, and BNK, they know exactly what they want. Soul point on the cards, and an Infernal Soul is going to feel absolutely fantastic for this composition.
Diablo picks
both
up
compositions, to be honest.
blue buff, which is pretty good for Ashe. And how does T1 get in here? Like, really, more specifically, how does Doran get in here? Because right now he is T1. There's no one else, and
Flash Dash Cannon Wolf, that's how.
I think he said, you know what, let's try to go in here on the 4th dragon.
This isn't Soul, right, guys? I mean, Soul Point is still so incredibly powerful. BNK utilizing their 4,000 gold advantage in order to make sure that they pick that one up. Man, this is just a ridiculous gold advantage. And BNK's composition just in general looks great. Beautiful little tiara picked up here by Kellen as well. 2 items on the double kill Seraphine. There's a knock-up onto Doran. Flash Twisted Advance comes on through as the Nature is grasping one more time. Ulti comes down, but Doran is able to buy a little bit of space. Still, the Kitty Cat comes down, and Vikla is able to lock that one up. There was also an arrow in the air, and so the cannon gets shut down. And yeah, I mean, this was where T1 were going to be able to find a way back in theory, right, was the Fed cannon. Now even he is getting put down, and Diablo is continuing to be frustrating, taking 2 plates immediately.
And the bottom lane, like they're getting this mid-turret plate gold while the bottom lane has a Herald crashing into the inner. The macro is once again very strong here for BNK from this lead. And Wukong really does not like Seraphine. It's very difficult for him to close the gap on anybody. Ashe slows also make him annoyed. He's not happy. He's not having a good time. No one is having a good time anymore with Doran dead. As you pointed out, really the last bastion of hope for T1 to put themselves onto match point. And instead, we're looking at a world where BNK likely to go up 2-1 over T1.
Point.
Like possibly going to go directly to our top 3.
And round 2 has been the 3-1 round. Round 1 was the 3-2 round. So far, we saw Genji and DK. They went to 3-1. Yes. As T1 are going to do the T1 Baron here at 20 minutes and 53 seconds.
I mean, Nivea damage is pretty real if she had more items.
Look at all the things.
It'll take a while.
Yeah, Vikla is going to have to teleport in here. Let's see where he's going to go, as the teleport in the backline is going to come on through. BNK do manage to get here, but T1 have this Baron so incredibly low. Arrow going to connect. There is the Encore. That's the Baron secured, but can they keep themselves alive? As the Nature's Grasp comes down, and Ona is going to be the first one to die. Clear has now found Doran, and Doran's just going to die? A solo kill for the Rise, who has felt like an afterthought this game. 2 dead in trade for the Baron. We've seen that not work out for the Baron up team, and especially when BNK have so much control over these lanes.
Yeah, and now there's no jungler to punish the push here for BNK. They're going to have to hope their Baron buff minions can defend here. This turret is not long for this world. as they don't have the wave anymore, so it will take a little bit longer, I suppose, as that top turret is also just going to go down to B&K as this Baron buff withers away. I think it was a good call from T1, and they had Doran on the flank to try to mitigate any sort of team fight.
Raptor looking to engage Cone his way in as Carrier in a bit of trouble, has to flash to get himself out of the way. Faker slowed down by the volley as Diablo's in the front line. Does get hit by that crit, but it is going to be Raptor now that's in a little bit of trouble. Look at that health bar, though. It's gigantic, and in goes Vikla, finding the ulti angle, and they just eviscerate Carrier and get themselves out.
And Clear isn't even here. He is going to show up here on the flank now. But they're essentially doing this fight without him, and now Owner thinks he can get his buff.
And maybe Dagon was right this whole time. Maybe Raptor is just the greatest jungler ever. As Vikla is down very, very low. There's a slicing Maelstrom, but there's no follow-up onto Doran. And now the curtains are being called. Faker in a bit of trouble as Clear does have his Seraphs, and so the shield is going to help him.
And so we don't misquote Dagon. Dagon said he was top 3. If he wins this series, you know, he will be.
I was being a little facetious, you know, as now Faker is going to look for Diablo. He has the barrier, and down he goes to the egg. Pays is dead as well as the Q snipes him down. And there goes the Anivia. Carrier cannot do anything. He's dead. It's a double for Diablo. And B&K, I think, are just going to march down this bottom lane and look to put an end to game number 3.
This was a very, very creative draft that I wasn't sure if we could trust, because it's just kind of unexplored territory, but they made it look absolutely broken. The coordination was great.
And with the Red Bull Baron power play, it looks like T1 is sponsoring Red Bull after all of that money, as finally Raptor does go down. This inhibitor turret is going to go as well. A 5,000 negative Red Bull Baron power play. That is a large one, as now Vikla could be getting flanked. Carrier looking to make his way in, but Doran, I don't think he's going to be able to get the follow-up. As let's just see. Yeah, he's just going to take a merry jaunt to get himself out. The ulti is going to be used.
It's like if you, before it's if you like, you know, T1, maybe you should drink Red Bull. Now it's like if you like Red Bull, maybe you should like T1. I don't know if that really came off the right way, but it is very funny what you said. I wanted to make sure that people knew that you made a funny joke, and then I ruined it.
Thanks, Wolf. No, I appreciate it. And ruining jokes that's my shtick, so I really appreciate.
I mean, Dragon for T1, maybe? Maybe? Yeah?
Could be the angle, and of course, B&K, they can give away as many dragons as they would like, because of course, they've taken the first 3 all for themselves. Vikla looking for a few Qs, does miss most of them. Good footwork there from Faker.
Faker's like, oh, thank God it's over. And then, well, I thought we were going to see the arrow over the wall. We did not. It is over. In fact, for Faker, it clears that wave.
Yep.
They get an Infernal Dragon, so that's a lot of stats across the team.
Oh, and speaking of stats, Wolf, I have a fun stat.
Go ahead.
That might put some game back onto your hands.
Okay, I'm ready.
How many teams have come back from a 14,000 gold lead this season in the LCK Cup?
Just one team, actually.
Which team was that?
It was T1.
Aha!
Not to be confused with SK Telecom, of course, the previous team.
That was the previous team.
It was under the T1 banner after the rebranding.
Got it. Okay, good.
This year, in this season, against KT Rolster, they're Telecom rivals.
Got it. So there is still hope, T1 fans. However, it is looking a little dire, and Diablo is doing a lot of damage here this game. Has his first 3 items fully completed. It looks like a more of Malmortius on the way.
Last time Pays was on the Aphelios. He's on Jhin this time.
Oh. You know what? I'm putting that in the cons column. He does have a rapid fire cannon and a, yeah. It's just not really looking.
Last time Owner was on Mundo. He's on Wukong this time. Which is not necessarily that bad if he can find a flank angle. But they don't have a lot of vision, they don't have a lot of control, but maybe it could be some sort of crazy cannon, Wukong, Rakan, Wombo combo onto 5 people.
Yeah, Clear is about to actualize, though. He did just complete it, and the Rise has been basically a non-factor this entire game, but is all of a sudden incredibly terrifying. Actually has a gold lead against Doran, who was the most powerful member of his team. And speaking of gold lead, Owner actually does have one as well, which is kind of crazy. Arrow going to catch Carrier in the middle of his grand exit, and Diablo just walks him down. Is it going to be enough, though, as they look for the curtain call, and Diablo just stands behind the tanky boys. The Wukong aren't able to do anything, and B&K just wipe out 2 already. Now Faker, Pays, and Doran, can they hold on to the base? That is the question. Slicing Maelstrom is there, and it's going to need to be massive. Clear takes matters into his own hands. There's the ulti from Vickler, and they just take down the cannon before Doran can do anything at all. And Clear is just tanking up. Nexus turrets doesn't seem to care too much at all as Diablo is peppering these ones down. Faker is discovered. The flash twisted advance there from Raptor is good as Carrier has respawned already. Gets a nice double knockup. But where is the damage? It is just absent here on T1. B&K's lead too large. And they will take down both Nexus turrets and the Nexus and look for match point. One more win from this team as Diablo goes complete beast mode in the enemy fountain. The Nexus is destroyed. And it's match point for B&K.
B&K might just do it.
They could be going to Hong Kong, man!
The preparation coming into this series feels much stronger than what T1 have brought to the table. They've had fantastic answers to T1's drafts. The flex of the Rise in the top lane, the early Ashe Seraphine that dominated the lane and pushed Pays out. Not to mention the Yone that came through that ended up doing a lot of work to push Faker out, put him behind in this game. It is just an unreal performance here from B&K. This squad is looking great. They just look like a strong team. It's not just the B&K aggression, it's the macro, it's the follow-up, it's holding on to these leads, preventing T1 from getting back in. That play from Diablo at the end was basically him just saying, I already beat this game, I'm not playing the T1 DLC. Where we go, oh, did they come back from a 14,000 gold lead? He's like, no, I'm just gonna go kill Carrier.
And he did the whole thing blind as well, Wolf. Did you see that? He only had hair in his eyes.
It's crazy.
He can't even see his monitor, and he's doing things like that. Absolutely absurd. As you can see, more than double of what Pays was able to put down, and I don't like Jin anymore after this game.
It was your first time disliking him.
I never really liked him, and I really still don't, as it turns out. But T1 a chance to bounce back here in game number 4. They can queue up the silver scrapes, and often when their backs are against the wall, that is when we get the T1 that creates that magic. So we'll see whether they can as we go to a short break. The space is then going to break that game down, and we'll have game number 4. Let's see whether B&K can maybe do it.
그냥 이거 영상
캐넨
나왔어 끝났어. 야,
턴에
바텀
애니비아 풀탑 볼게. 라인 들어갈 때.
아 미드 바텀에 미드 바텀 끝나. 바텀 라인까지 박아줄게. 바텀 라인 써. 아래로.
맞지마 그냥.
빌려줄게.
이제부터 가줄게.
아니야 박아봐.
나 풀탑. 애니비아 노플.
끝.
라인 쳐. 타워 쳐.
가려야 할 때 이거?
타워 쳐.
나 세라프 있어.
근데 시간 많이 남아서 그냥 끝나긴 해. 끝나긴 해.
타워 쳐봐. 끝나. 타워 쳐봐. 8초야 8초. 타워 치면 끝난다 얘들아. 길 없어 얘네. 타워 칠게.
이건이 봐달라는데?
네 맞아.
아 놀아.
한번 잘해보자.
Have a bit of fun, and then they realize that they have to lock in. Locking in is gonna need to start now. And B&K, let's see what they can do. On the blue side this time around, T1 choosing second pick. So making sure that they can get counter pick, and they will be on the red side.
We're getting a little bit into Talia territory, right, in terms of mid lane viability. I am curious to see if that pick is going to come through. Vickler also does have quite an eclectic champion pool. We mentioned we love him on the melees, we love him on the aggressive dive picks. He's played Morgana mid. He does what he wants, okay?
Indeed.
He is a type of player that might have another creative strategy planned and prepared here going into this one. Because one thing seems very clear to me. from
top
watching
lane.
the drafts we've seen, all three or all four, or we'll see what happens in the fourth draft, but of the 3 games we've seen so far, B&K seemed like they came in with a much stronger game plan. And T1 have kind of just been flexing around it and playing standard and believing they're the stronger team, which everybody believed, by the way. And B&K brought strats. Let's see if T1 have any strategies of their own.
Well, the Vi is not going to be it, as they are going to ban that one away. The Nami taken away as well, to make sure that there is no Corki or Lucian shenanigans. I actually think that the Nami ban is really cool, kind of helps shore up a Corki or a Lucian lock-in.
I wonder if B&K leave the Nico up and see if T1 ban it. Because if you just end up getting Nico, I think they have to ban it now with the Karma ban. If they get Nico first pick, they can play whatever they want in the bottom lane.
Yeah.
So much is gone here off of the pool.
I imagine that is probably what they're going to look towards. It means that Yunara is up and available.
And they just first pick Slam it, I think, even with Corki available, if that Nico gets banned right here. This is such an awkward spot for T1 with second pick here. And they look frustrated.
Yeah. Faker wondering what he wants to lock in, and it will be that Nico to be banned away. And so, like you're saying,
Diablo gets the Yunara? That doesn't feel great.
Well, they haven't locked it in yet, but I'm kind of assuming that is what they're going to look towards.
And it's crazy that, like, because Rumble was played so early on in this game, that's not really a consideration either. You'd have such a, it feels to me, obvious choice here. There's a lot of discussion going on probably about what matchups they want to play into the Corki, which will probably be picked in response here. Lucian is still available. And they're actually going to go for Lucian instead. Just Diablo saying, I want this side of the matchup, despite the fact that Nami was taken away.
Yeah, and so now it means like T1 could pick away a Braum, perhaps. I'm not entirely sure what they want to play alongside the Lucian. We've seen Sona cropping up if there isn't a Nami available.
Milio, viable.
Yeah,
even
another one.
Yumi could be considered.
Oh, don't talk about Yumi. I watched yesterday. It was not great.
Rakan's already gone.
Well, Yunara is going to be the choice, and pretty obviously so.
Lulu is gone.
Oh, never mind.
They could still pick it up here with this. I think they're giving a lot of thoughts about the overarching composition of what tier list picks are available. Aurora is a flex and is one of the strongest mages that is available here deep in this Fearless draft in Game 4. So it feels very smart to pick this up. It's also very good into Lucian. See what they want to grab. Like, they could grab a jungle pick here, but it would be blind. The Yunara feels obvious, right? It seems like they're using this time to discuss all the other possibilities rather than deciding whether they're going to pick Yunara or not, because that part seemed pretty obvious.
Well, is it going to be rounding out the bottom lane here for T1 after this next couple of picks, or is it going to be locking in something else? We'll just have to see. B&K, they can grab themselves their priority bottom lane of choice.
Milio is putting all the eggs in the Diablo basket. You're not going to have a lot of great engage. You're just going to hope that Diablo pops off and carries the game, which is a pretty safe assumption.
Yep.
And they are going to go for that pick, so that's what they decide to do. And it's hard to counterpick the Aurora. First of all, because she's Aurora, and she's usually the one who is the winning one in the lane, but also because it's a flex pick here. So maybe just a jungle pick for Raptor, like the Lee Sin, could be the option.
Yeah, one of those options could be good. We'll just have to see. Maybe getting something that can reliably get on top of Yunara is kind of what they want, but instead, Twisted Fate being considered, and Vikla will lock that one away. We've seen Showmaker find a lot of success on this champion so far. Obviously, he is one of our better Twisted Fate players, as he does have many years of mastery on the champion. But Faker, let's see what he's going to do, whether he's going to be donating that Aurora towards the top side of the map, or whether it's going to be something else. Because there are certainly options into Twisted Fate that you can take. Or they could just lock away Carrier's pick if they want to make sure that they get something high priority into this bottom lane. And it looks like that's going to be the option, as Nautilus will be snapped up.
Vikla has played nearly 400 professional games of League of Legends. He has played 4 games of Twisted Fate.
Wow.
Pretty bold position to pick this here for him, given that he has strayed from it, even when it was at its strongest. We had 80 Twisted Fate and stuff like that. Pretty crazy stuff. B&K coming with the strats today as the Nautilus makes a lot of sense. You just got to lock down the solution, especially now that the Twisted Fate is there. You know this is going to be mainly a one-threat composition for the side of B&K. Mundo will be taken away.
Yeah, just trying to get rid of the next tier of junglers. Mundo's certainly there. Lee Sin, definitely one of those. And T1 will have the first choice after we do get out of this banning phase. So Owner will be able to get the first pick of the rest of the litter that are available.
I think the Nautilus pick was super smart because if you're T1, you need any way to get on top of this Lucian. Elysian was a great ban as well. It's very strong right now, but another one of those picks that can find creative angles, and the Emilio can't really outplay very easily either. Jace taken away now, making it feel like this is going to be a top lane Aurora pick.
Yeah, that's what it kind of feels like, and maybe counter pick for Faker could be the thing. Although, picking something into the Twisted Fate that is already being shown could be something to look out for as well. One final ban to come down for B&K. Let's see what that is going to be here. The time is ticking down.
They're probably struggling because they're like, there's just not that much engage left. Talia is another thing that could give this Lucian problems and also match the Twisted Fate in rotation.
That's a Malphite.
That is certainly one way to get on top of this guy.
And he's going to lock it in. Malphite has been not all that successful here in the LCK, but thankfully Faker already played Sylas in this series, so they don't need to worry about that one being picked into it. Let's see how B&K are going to round out their draft now, looking for a jungler and a top laner. Unless they do something very weird, but I don't think so.
Now that they know they don't have to worry about the Trundle, they might just put Clear on, well, I was going to say Scion duty, but into the Aurora would have been a really tough sell, so they end up giving him the Gnar here.
All right, what's it going to be? Raptor thinking about what he wants to play.
They could honestly almost even change this draft up completely and go for like Graves or Kindred and just add some extra damage and protect this Lucian further and deal with the Malphite. So it's going to be Trundle, which is great into Malphite as well.
Was a little bit buffed on this patch as well. And so just a few extra numbers here and there. So the Trundle feeling all right, and you can also just strip the resistances of the Malphite. He ults his way in and gets subjugated and dies. Is kind of what it's going to look like. However, the Wombo is going to be the problem, right? Carrier and Owner, if they're working together effectively, which is how they've won a lot of world championships in a row, that is going to be the aim of the game. Plus, there's a counter-strike layered on top.
That's a statement from Doran right there. You know, Keen was the only one who's really said, I like the Jackson Gnar matchup, but most people have considered this Gnar to be a strong counter pick. And Doran is essentially saying, I can handle that because it will be worth it to have another threat. We saw already with Rich pulling this off with the Malphite ultimate to set it up. Counter-Strike plus Malphite ult onto multiple people could be massive. But in this draft, you really only need to hit the Lucian. That's the main target. That is the main goal here. And T1 have all of the tools to kill Diablo that you could ever ask for in a draft this deep into Fearless. Sure, the early game is going to be a little bit scary for the Jax. It's a little bit volatile. If Doran makes a mistake, he can mess it up. But his Counter-Strike value into this composition will also be massive because he can, of course, just ignore gold cards and can otherwise absorb all of that Lucian damage during Counter-Strike. The Gnar at least offers you a second AD threat and will give you a little bit of side lane power as long as it doesn't fall behind. This is such a statement series from Diablo, and the drafting here in this fourth game reflects that as well.
It really does. Looking forward to seeing what they can make of it. But this time around, I feel like T1 have a much better looking draft in comparison to the last game, right? This one looks like it's a little bit more honest, and we'll see whether B&K can still do it, even with much more even footing in the draft. Let's get into it. All right, we didn't have the Shriek in the fan chants for B&K this time around. We'll just have to see whether they lose because that wasn't there, or whether it is not actually a factor.
This is looking at the stats.
Yeah, that's the stats that I care about. As Vikla finds a red card. There we go. Shout out to Reginald. You love to see it. God, that's a deep cut. It's been a while.
All right, Raptors just said we're going to start up some vertical jungling right away.
He is just going to eat rock. That is what he's thinking about doing.
Malphite,
whether he can make Owner's life bad.
Was nerfed a little bit. You know, at the very beginning of the season, he was a lot stronger, as we're going to see a little bit of a trade here. But I think that messing up the pathing of the Malphite and just kind of slowing him down a little bit can be really strong, especially because Malphite. The thing about Malphite in the jungle, one of his biggest weaknesses is he doesn't want to interact with the other jungler most of the time ever at all, because he kind of just doesn't do anything, and Raptor will be happy to continue to fight with him. And so we'll see how this goes. I do agree that I think T1 have a slightly stronger draft here. They have the right tools to kill Diablo, and that's the whole name of the game here. And this is one of the better Malphite drafts that we've seen, because I think, for me, I was kind of low on Malphite earlier this year because a lot of time he was the only engage, or the only primary way to set up. In this game, he has a Nautilus to press R to make sure he guarantees gets it, and then a Jax to follow up, and an Aurora to set up the slow so the Nautilus can get into position to press R, etc., etc. So I think T1 really have quite a strong Malphite draft.
Yeah. And now you can see Ona is forced to move towards BNK's side of the map. He is going to head over and look to try and clear out their blue side. But that means vertical jungling, and the bottom lane will be completely isolated. Raptor rotating around to try and find the rock. That is all he cares about in this game, as Faker finding a lot of damage onto Vikla. It looks like Ona has successfully been able to get himself this blue buff, and Raptor caught happy feeding just a little bit here. Wanted to double check to make sure that Ona wasn't taking his bottom side, and he indeed wasn't. He headed straight towards the top lane.
And because Doran's doing so well in this early matchup here into clear, and Faker is crushing the mid lane, Ona is really under no threat. He can actually do this quite freely, and nothing will happen. There will be no punish. There will be no rotation over from either Prio Soul lane, because they don't have Prio.
Yeah, so Mega Fire Kick comes in here onto Pace, stops any follow-up after Carrier gets in, and that double tap doing a fair bit of work there.
Diablo is ready to play the game.
Oh, yeah. He has got plenty of warm hugs here from Kellen. Melio's abilities are just the best.
Give him a warm hug so he can massacre the enemy at high range.
And I really like that Breath of Life it's the ultimate ability, and now that Aurelion Soul has changed, he doesn't have Breath of Light anymore, and so at least it's kind of similar. There you go. You get to, as a play-by-play, I get to say that name, like, kind of still. All right, Ona going to get discovered here by Raptor. That's kind of what Raptor has really liked here, as Kellen taking way too much damage towards the bottom lane, lit on fire, and the flash over the Mega Fire Kick is kind of crazy from Paze. Diablo still able to offer damage back, but they do get all of the summoners out of Kellen.
Yeah, this can backfire, because Diablo has both sums, and it's a 3v3 now here in the jungle.
Rock. See? Told you wanted to eat the rock as Pace.
Yeah.
He just gets flashed on because his flash was down.
That was not
Diablo's
a favorable
looking
trade.
for another one, but it's going to let Carrier live for the moment.
That was not a favorable trade, unfortunately, for the bottom duo there of T1. Diablo has his flash, has his barrier, knows he can follow up on the play. And every single time Carrier steps up and looks for a hook, you've seen Diablo's positioning. He's like, oh, well, I shoot the 80 carry.
Yes.
And my support is going to help me do that. And I don't even care if Kellen dies. I'm going to get the favorable trade. So watching it, it was a really cool flash play from from Paze. But unfortunately, it doesn't result in the kill. So that's a problem, because now he doesn't have it. Diablo's also at full health because all of Paze's Q was used on Kellen. Doesn't have Q anymore. Has to stack it back up. Doesn't have flash. And this over the wall from Kellen sets it up.
It's beautiful. And then Diablo knows that he can invest his flash in order to grab that kill. Raptor was fighting the rock on the top side of the map. And so therefore, on the upper side of the map, he wasn't on the top side. He was in the bottom lane, but still. Too far away, as now Vikla fighting against Faker here momentarily. Stacks up the deck, but unfortunately just has to walk away. And Faker now hits level 6, so does Vikla. We'll see where the gate is going to be going, as Cannon denied here by BNK. It has been a little bit of a bottom lane problem for T1. Diablo is having the series of his life right now.
Really,
we know this guy is an incredible player, but they haven't quite reached the we can take down T1 in a best-of-5 level of height.
Exactly. It hasn't been to the level of, let me prove it against, like, the defending world champions. And not obviously the defending world champion 80 carry in this scenario, because Paze has slotted into Guma's spot, but he is absolutely having the series of his life, and they're drafting for him too in this one. Like, you know, this is BNK saying, we trust this guy, he's young, he's not that experienced just yet, hasn't played too many big best-of-5s like this, but we know that he is just not going to get nervous, he's not going to choke, he's going to perform. And outplays Paze and Carrier there in the bottom side.
Yeah, does so beautifully. And this was first pick, right? You love to see a first pick pay off. Manages to get that, that first blood So all of that extra money to the tune of about 600 in the lead. 10 CS up as well. So Diablo's very scary. And we do have a rock down here once again. Ona has just hit level 6 as well. And Raptor is nowhere in the vicinity. So a possible option here as they do turn off the lights, but there is a ward still here. And so B&K, they will get some advanced warning of the rock moving over. Kellen spots him. There is the flash, but they catch the dash. There's the hook from Carrier. And Diablo, he survives for a long time, but will be taken out. There's the T1 answer.
Yeah, no flash for Diablo after the previous play. And a bit of a caster curse, perhaps, but not really on Diablo. A good prediction from Owner on the dash. And he dashes essentially right into the waiting arms of the Malphite.
Yeah, beautifully played there from T1.
Now, Carrier does pick up the kill. So it's not as good as it could have been here for T1, but it is pretty massive to get Pays back on footing of some sort, you know, back on, I don't want to say even footing, but he's no longer massively behind in CS. So it's a successful gank this time around as one of the only real counterplays to Malphite Ultimate is reacting quickly and pressing flash in situations like this. Owner predicts the dash, but also knows that Kellen can't help, and there's also a Nautilus there. So even if he doesn't dash there, he dies, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of checkmate in this scenario.
And no level 6 or anything like that for Kellen, and I don't think that would have helped either, because knockups are not really that affected from the cleanse. So Vikla continuing to get harassed here by Faker in this mid lane, but he is kind of cheating, right? So he is going to be developing plenty of money on this Twisted Fate, moving towards his Rod of Ages as soon as he can. Faker is doing a lot of work, though, as we can see here. He may have actually just lost a cannon as Diablo, he's angry. Going to throw out that culling, gives Carrier a bit of a back massage.
Pretty difficult to dive here.
Overgrowth going to be taken down. Here's the gate to come on through as Vikla right underneath the turret. Will get knocked up as Pays is going to be the target, but he takes a long time to kill. Raptor just tanks it up. And he will be A-OK. Wildcard's not enough to take down Carrier, and the Rock is moving in. Faker there as well. Walks over control vision as Diablo is still trying to get more kills. As Faker goes between worlds, but immediately he's CC'd. Carrier gets the Titan's Wrath as there's the ulti from Ona, but the flash out from Diablo's fantastic. Still, he's going to go down, and down goes the Troll as well. T1! They are looking for some silver scrapes, and if they keep playing like this, they may find him.
Yeah, still, though, I mean, it's not that bad for B&K. At the end of the day, they end up getting the kill onto Pays. And, I mean, Vikla, that's a little awkward cutaway. I heard a flash.
Yeah, was that a flash gold card? Yeah, we're going to see that in live. Vikla just grabs the solo bolo.
Oh my god, Atlas, that was...
All right, so I guess it's not that even. Sorry, not that T1 favored. It's in fact a pretty even trade.
Because it was a fairly even trade at the start of this. And then Diablo, he just can't help himself. I mean, that's why he's so good, but also maybe just play it slower. He wanted to avoid getting hit by the edge of this, but then he's like, oh, maybe I'm going to die no matter what. I want to go for Carrier. Still flashes the ultimate, by the way, because he's a psycho. Yeah. Not 100% sure about that flash from Kellen to try to get in there and give him a heal, but...
I like the idea.
Yeah, the gusto was real. Flash gold card means he knows he has the extra damage. Qs, hits the auto.
And needed that sidestep. If he doesn't get that sidestep, then they both die. Or just he dies and looks very silly. So Vikla living life on the edge, but it's going to pay off here. 2-0-0 for the Twisted Fate. Means that he gets his Rod of Ages completed very early.
Exactly. After that kill, he could just buy it on the back. And now he's going to be building it early. He's a level up on Faker.
And does manage to get that gold card as well, so gets himself to a safe range.
Okay. He just says, Faker, if you want to trade with me, you're going to lose those minions. And Faker does, in fact, lose those minions.
He acquiesced.
I'm trying to look at this game state and really quantify who's ahead. I think the game is incredibly even because... Yes, the lead was there for Diablo. Obviously, the lead for Vikla is somewhat based on his passive, but he has 2 kills. Doesn't necessarily mean he can take over the game on Twisted Fate. So T1 still feeling pretty fine in this game if they can make a play here bottom side, but...
Oh yeah, if Raptor's here, it's still a scary time as Faker tries to go between the worlds and Vikla just stands still. He's just got so much health with this Rod of Ages already done, and Faker just has to get out of there. Thankfully survives. So that means full wave control over to Vikla. 6 seconds on the Destiny.
I mean, Vikla he might have been able to, if Malphite wasn't nearby, use his heal to chase down and get that kill. Obviously, Owner was nearby on the bottom side scuffle, so he does not commit to it, but still gets a lot of extra value here. And now the Malphite is not in the bottom lane, so they actually have full prio for the second dragon of the game. And this is what you want to be doing with this composition, constantly playing through Lucian, constantly playing through your bottom side control. and setting up every single objective before this Yunara becomes a bigger threat later on. You know, Cull is running here for Pays.
Ooh, Vikla goes back and completes some items here at the same time. Faker looks to try and grab that plate, but I don't think he's going to be able to do so as Diablo's dashing in. Hook is not going to connect there as the fire kick comes down. Has to invest the ultimate, does Carrier, as the Drake is going to be taken here. Now Owner is looking to try and pick up the kill onto Clear. That Meganar is coming through though, and he elects, oh, he didn't even have the ulti, so never mind. Owner wasn't able to get too much of a follow-up, and there is a big difference between a Malphite ganking without ult and a Malphite ganking with ult.
Yes, and also there's a pretty big difference in the impact that his ultimate, when he didn't secure the kill, made, and this gank here on the bottom side, securing more plates for this accelerated Lucian and getting the flash and ult out of Carrier. So another defensive tool here down in the bottom lane if we see another all-in, as Vikla is just walking it off in this matchup.
Yeah, these are Merc Treads, certainly looking pretty good, and that's only going to get worse as they upgrade, getting close to completing that quest as well, where those shoes are going to be looking pretty nice.
This is a really strong position for BNK, but again, not alone enough yet to feel like this game is in the bag, but they're doing everything correctly thus far.
Yeah, I think Doran certainly has a lot more agency in this game than what he's had previously. It's also an Ocean Soul, so not exactly the most of a big deal for BNK to lock down with their Double Dragon that they've picked up already. And so if we do see some team fights, Doran hitting level 11 now, very close to that Trinity Force, going to be the third one on the map to pick one up.
Wow, bit of a swap here up to the top lane for Diablo. Does have his quest completed, so the penalty not going to apply that Ox was talking about before, and they're going to try to kill Doran and take this turret off the map. Pays cannot impact this at all.
Yep, Nara is just going to be thrown out for fun there from Clear, and I don't think Doran is going to be able to do much of anything at all. There's the culling. That's going to take him down, and now they're looking for the turret here as well. That'll be first turret blood if they're able to get there, and you can see Pays is so far away from that bottom outer. And when you group up to take turrets on this patch, it's actually better than what it was previously.
Absolutely. And there is a smiling CVMAX somewhere, because we haven't used this term in a while, but it's starting to feel like Funnolution in this one as they send him to the top lane. He picks up another kill. He picks up the first turret of the game. And Pays, meanwhile, isn't getting anywhere near as much on the other side.
Well, that is going to be Vikla going down to half health as T1 throws the kitchen sink at him.
He walks it off again.
Yeah, this is a very beefy TF. 4 stacks on that Rod of Ages. And yeah, with the quest completed, those Merc Treads are just kind of silly.
And obviously Malphite doesn't build damage. Zeke's will help a little bit with the damage, but it's not like later on in this game, if they fall further behind, he can just ult Diablo and they win by default. Diablo can flash it and kill him, or sometimes just get hit by the ultimate and then shoot him and kill him as well.
Oh no. There's the house,
Faker.
And the Nara's going to hit this time around. I think Clear could have done that by himself, as now Pays taking so much damage here from Diablo, who's got a Kraken Slayer, now building towards his Essence Reaver. This Lucian is getting very frightening as the fire kicks are coming on through. Pays going to get interrupted as Raptor comes on over to clear out vision. And BNK, they just stayed right on this front foot, and it looks like they are never stepping back. T1, speaking of which, they're going to have to.
They can't do anything here. I mean, at least they're getting the cross on the Jax on the top side, but it's being matched by Nar bottom side, so it's going to be a 2-for-1 in turrets. They already got the top side turret with the roam up from Diablo. And so this is a big trade up again for BNK. The macro really good off of just a pick onto that Aurora. Faker's Aurora now 1 and 2 in this game. Massively far behind because of the pass up of that Rod of Ages early has really given Vikla so much extra safety and agency in this game. And it's a silent GGG Glow Park right now, because I think on one side the T1 fans are not happy with how this series has gone. On the other side, the BNK fans aren't going to call it over until it's over.
Not daring to dream just yet.
But it is, I mean, dead silent in here. Like when we saw that kill on the Faker, it felt like I was in a library.
Yes. And we've heard that before. It has happened. I think a lot of us remember Busan for that MSI. Let's see whether we can bring some life back to the LoL Park, though, as it's not going to be for this replay, as this was Faker just getting caught out, and Clear just combos him down.
This is a really, really great series, draft-wise, strategy-wise here for BNK, but it's backed up by phenomenal performances across the board.
I think the way they played out this game as well, with the Trundle into Malphite and the fact that Raptor immediately starts counter jungle against Doran, dives on top of Vikla, and now this pillar is being very annoying. Raptor turns up at perfect time. Good leap strike to get Doran out of there, but he does have to invest it. Ulti now on cooldown as well.
And BNK are like, yeah, Dragon's up. Don't care about that. It's Ocean Dragon. I already got the 2 real ones. I'm going to drop my Herald on your top inner and maybe even going to crash on your inhibitor turret.
Oh my goodness. That's going to be a charge onto the inhib. As now Raptor is just walking back down towards this dragon as well. And Ona, he can't start that one up. Doran is down here just trying to mop up the mess in the top lane. As Raptor moves in, Keria is there with Paze, but the hook is going to go wide. Fire kick comes on through as well, but it is Raptor taking a lot of damage. Now the subjugate comes on through and they turn onto Vikla. He goes between worlds, getting comboed down and will be taken out. It takes a while, but he eventually does go down as now Doran gets into the mix. Raptor looking a little worse for wear, but stays alive for the moment, and now the pillar is in. There's the counter strike. They land on top of Kellen, but he is not the primary target, and clear. Getting into that backline, down goes Paze, and without the Inara, there is so much damage missing, and now it's Diablo's turn as he flashes out of the counter-strike, and Faker is going to get mopped up as well. It should be a triple as he dashes after Faker to pick it up,
and I think BNK
cannot be stopped.
I think they might have just punched their ticket, Atlas. Unreal! No one predicting this team to win it. No one predicting this would go even 5 in T1's win. And we're on the brink. We are on the precipice of this team pulling it off. And this fight here for T1 initially looks like it's great because they're able to collapse on the Vikla when he comes in here and baits them. But look at Clear on the angle. His Narbar timing perfect. And he doesn't just blow it early. He waits for his opportunity as Diablo slowly closes the gap here. They have perfect positioning so Diablo cannot be engaged on. So much was used on the Twisted Fate that Diablo has the extra agency. Doran ignored, and then the Gnar comes through. Clear gets into the backline here. Paze is deleted. He does not have his item spike yet. He cannot carry this fight alone. And Vikla, this time he dies, but it's worth.
And Raptor's passive got him so much help in that fight. He went down to so little, and then Keria dies. He gets the King's Tribute, and you get the big round of applause from Vikla.
He was watching that fight. His sacrifice was valid.
And I think after this, it's looking like Vikla's TF win rate might be in the positives.
It was 50-50 before.
Oh my gosh, this is unprecedented.
Man, this is crazy. T1 getting outclassed tonight.
And it's not like, I don't want to look at this as like a T1 collapse, because I want to celebrate just how good BNK have looked in this series. And it's not only they're playing better, it's the way they play around, the tools they know they have. It's a cerebral game as well here for BNK. And they have all of the answers.
They're playing to their strengths as well, right?
Yeah.
Clear blind picks the Gnar, and it ends up getting value because Doran wants to have a better follow-up. He wants to have the setup with this Malphite, but it's one of Clear's best picks, and he's performing well on it. Same with his Renekton that we saw even in the loss, where he had an insane performance there. T1 just cannot even get in their jungle now.
All right, the Destiny comes on through, the gate comes out. That's the unstoppable force used defensively as Faker gets a house thrown at him. I think it's a drill here, space drill. As now Diablo looking for an angle as Keria taking so much damage. The exhaust onto Doran means that there's no re-engage, but BNK, I think just testing the waters, seeing whether any cracks show up. And T1 are going to be forced to back away. Crystalline Overgrowth goes pop, and BNK look to try and take down this inner turret as well. Once again, we have bounties on the map. And we were talking about backs against the wall. T1 are in the wall now.
They're looking like Han Solo and Carbonite right now.
It's either that or it's Homer Simpson, like inside the hedge.
Well, I think they're going to have to hope for a little Kool-Aid man coming bursting through if they're going to come back in this one. And I apologize for the humor, but right now this game looks like it is over, and it looks like it has been over since that last Dragon fight. And it's 2 minutes to go until the next one here, but BNK have their eyes around Baron Vision. And this is a very, very strong Diablo setup here. Two items for Paze, but there are just so many different reasons why it's hard for him to pop off in this game, because his other parts of this composition have fallen so far behind that he doesn't have the engaged frontline he was hoping for anymore.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that Diablo is just dashing up to him and trying to kill him by himself every single fight. Like, this guy has absolutely no fear, and he will continue to do so. I feel like Kellen has found the perfect AD carry for him.
Yes.
Because Kellen has always been a babysitter support, right? A lot of the reasons why we were critical of Kellen is that he wasn't quite as able to start fights. Well, you don't need to start fights. Diablo will stop them.
He is the enchanter guy. We have said this about Kellen a lot. You know, his Renata wasn't about his handshakes, okay? It was about his positioning, his bailout timings, stuff like that, that we really, you know, were championing when it was his best champion, right? And we were like, maybe it's his only champion for a little while. But he has really evolved, and he's looking better on engaged supports too this season as well.
Absolutely.
But I do think you have a really strong point here, because if he trusts Diablo and he's just going to play support and not be the guy who goes in, he's the guy who allows his AD carry to go in, it's a match made in heaven. And right now, the gates are opening as Rapid Fire Cannon is done for Vikla.
These item spikes are absolutely ridiculous for BNK. 3 items on Vikla. They're all very important. Those gold cards can hit from a really long way away, and with that Lich Bane, they do really hurt. And Diablo, he's got 3 done, so they're looking for this. There is the engage from Ono, though. They're looking to try and get on top of Diablo, but with Kellen, he survives for such a long time, but finally, he's taken down. The flash from Raptor, though. No AD carries left on the Rift, but Vikla is in melee range with Ono and Doran, and it's now Doran's turn to go insane. Still, he's able to get himself out of there. A 1-for-1 as both of the ADs are just gone.
Yeah, this was the best possible scenario for T1 in terms of the engage. Unfortunately, Pays was taken out by a quick, snappy reaction there by BNK, and now challenging for this dragon is just not realistic, I think, for T1, as Doran might actually also be in trouble here as Clear gets his Narbar. House won't connect, but TP has to be committed, and Raptor is just soloing this. I think this is just Ocean Soul over to BNK.
Yeah, and Ocean Soul actually kind of insane on a Trundle who just likes to have his health bar bounce around.
With the
we're going to need a lot more Executioner's Callings than just the one on Pays, I think, as the healing is just going to be a little bit nuts. Diablo is obviously very far up, so Owner finds a great angle here.
It does have a Spirit Massage as well. This is a really nice angle from Owner, but the follow-up from Pays unfortunately puts him in harm's way. And Raptor has Flash, so he can follow on him. If Raptor doesn't have Flash there and Pays actually gets away, he kills Raptor, and they probably end up getting way more than that. Clear was not even here, by the way, for the initial part of this fight.
Yep, and now Carrier is dealing with a culling, and that is a back massage that he does not like to see. Another Unstoppable Force comes down, but where's the follow-up? Faker does find it here, and Diablo is going to get taken out. Doran now going to dive in on top of Raptor, who's looking so difficult to kill, especially with Kellen alongside. The flash from Clear, but he doesn't find the Gnar angle, and now a gold card comes in. They're looking to try and stop Doran, and there is the Gnar finally, but it's just not going to do enough, as Kellen cannot keep all of his carries alive, especially with Diablo on the floor. Still, Clear is there. He hits Mini Gnar. He's like, I'm the AD carry now, and I guess he is.
The wallets are so heavy that these fights that shouldn't be winnable for this comp anymore, or shouldn't be winnable for this comp at this late in the game with this much of a lead, are still kind of playable, because Clear, like you said, is a secondary AD carry threat here. But I gotta say, 2 times in a row is too many, because now we're looking at a world where if this happens a 3rd time and T1 actually get a more direct punish, there's a way back into this game. And I think for BNK, you're still in a very favorable spot, but remember, we said this solution is the damage. He is the one.
Yeah.
And so you cannot be losing him initially, and the fact that Owners found 2 of these angles in a row means it could be a 3rd. Now BNK going to start the Baron and look for a potential turn as T1 rush over. Heavy lifting here from Clear. Hysterix procs here in the end of this fight. So you can see T1 watch on. No flash for Owner. He has his
ult. Clear's going in. There's the gate. It's now Pays. Oh, he's too far forward. Clear looking for the angle. Look at that Narbar. Still, he has to get ulted by Owner to make sure that they have the peel. And Owner might be a hero. He has saved his AD carry, but he has to sacrifice himself. That means the jungle is dead, and the Baron should go over to BNK.
Yeah, this was a desperate situation for T1 no matter which way you look at it. They wanted to get in there, look for some sort of engage with BNK. Old BNK probably just holds Baron and tries to fight on the Baron pit itself. Modern BNK says, no, we're going to actually play around the pit. We're going to put our Gnar, still build his Gnar bar on the outside of the pit, drop Baron, and look for the fight away from the Baron. Don't give T1 the opportunity. The evolution of this squad moving into this year is definitely felt, and Owner's sacrifice here is enough to save the rest of his teammates, but the Baron will go over to B&K, who push their lead up to 7,500.
Is Edo just like the greatest coach of all time if they somehow manage to win the LCK Cup, Wolf?
He was the greatest kart rider coach.
See what I'm saying? Like, maybe just everything he touches turns to gold. And like, this is the same roster. Like, it's absolutely absurd. As, yep, the library continues here. As Doran, he's going to get pillared momentarily. Vikla looks to try and find a gold card, but Doran gets himself out of there. He's going to be okay for the moment. Problem is, does not really change the state of this game. This large minion wave. What the heck was that damage?
Pretty unreal.
That's a Lich Bane proc with some crystalline overgrowth, I guess.
There's
that tower just dies.
There's no TP for Faker. There's no TP for Doran. There's only one ward they could use to try to flank anyways. They just have to wait this out, but it's 2 more minutes. This should be the beginning of the end, barring a huge mistake. Some miracle flash ult from Owner onto Diablo with follow-up. They're just going to play it slow. They're going to play it safe, and T1 fans pray they make that error.
This is crazy, though, as Carrier, he goes in, he gets pillared. There's another Destiny to come forward as Carrier looking very worse for wear. Vikla decides not to gate just yet, finally pulls the trigger as the gold card connects onto Faker. Now Clear finds him with the Gnar. He tries to go between worlds, but unfortunately, he goes to the world that nobody wants to go to with the gray screen. His owner, he's going to get turned on as well and eaten by a Raptor. Is this just the end of the game? Is this just the end of the series? Has B&K done it? It was only 3 best of 5s between these organizations, and B&K are gonna even that scoreline as there's the flash onto the fountain, obviously, there from Diablo and B&K VODs. They will be going to Hong Kong, and they are going up against Gen G for that first seed position.
What a team performance. I hope we get to see a smattering of votes across the rift between Diablo's insane hands, his carry mechanical outplays, the protection from Kellen, Clear's glow up. B&K fans cannot believe it. We mentioned it earlier. Raptor, a god of the jungle, gapping Owner this series for sure.
Yeah.
And Vikla having the performance of a lifetime. Like, how can you have predicted that everyone was going to have both insane drafting and the play to back it up to crush the defending world champions here? No one expected it. No one predicted it. But B&K made it happen. They lived it.
Yeah, there he is. It's his year. It's his year, ladies and gentlemen. Vikla looking absolutely fantastic here today. Like you were saying, the POM situation, I'm glad I don't have a vote because there are too many great options. Once again, Diablo does up his pants. As you can see, he's playing blind, guys. This guy, like, obviously can't see through that hair. He needs a hair. Imagine if he got a haircut. It would be obscene, the amount of things that he'd be able to do. As Kellen there, humble as ever, as per usual. But I don't know, is Kellen my front runner just because of the amazing defense he played? The fact that the bottom lane is so important.
Crazy, but his Milio game was also good.
Yeah, Diablo's like psychopathic and was playing phenomenally well towards the bottom side of the map. But honestly, I think it'd have to go to Raptor for me, with the fact that Owner has been such a linchpin for T1 every single time, and the fact that like he played Maokai and looked phenomenal on it. Like, his Pantheon was the main character of that game as well. In every single win, it's been what Raptor has done.
I think my brain
got them for it. Got them the victory.
My brain, it's a Raptor vote, but my pen and my heart and the narrative went to Diablo on this one. I voted for him. I think he was the man of the series. There was no doubt. Even though everyone set him up, this whole series was about the trust that B&K had for him, and it absolutely paid off. That final Lucian game, again, it was all about get this guy money, swap him to the top lane, get him more money. He's gonna do it, he's gonna carry, and he did.
Yeah, honestly, all of B&K understand exactly how they're supposed to win. They just wield this dude like a weapon.
He is the sword.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just the body parts,
yeah,
you know?
It's the hilt, and then like the little bit of string that goes around, and then like the thing that stops you from cutting yourself and things like that, unless it's a katana. Like, as Clear, also absolute glow up in this game especially, but on the Renekton as well, like you were talking about before. I think everyone deserves an accolade in this series.
There's something to be said about Clear, like his DRX days when he was in Challengers, he got a lot of credit, right? When DRX was the best Challengers team, but he was not able to ever replicate that in the LCK, it seems, consistently until very recently. And that, to me, makes it feel like it was a confidence issue. And he suddenly has that. And I think that's something that we're seeing from a lot of our ex-Rise Group teams coming into LCK Cup here in 2026 is there's a new level of confidence, there's a new level of coordination that just wasn't seen last year. And I think as a whole, the LCK has leveled up so much between the end of the season last year and where we are here now in playoffs.
Yeah, having a look here at the final fight, T1 circling the drain. Remember, the only objective they got this game was one outer turret. That was literally it. This was an absolute clobbering from B&K in this final game of the series. And we say statement game quite a lot. I feel like we throw it around. This was the definition of a statement game.
I just don't even know if B&K will ever have a best of 5 like this ever again, is how I feel right now. But I also kind of hope they do, because they look so good when they play like this.
Give me a 5-game banger against Gen G as they try and get revenge against Ryu, who left them, right? Edo's like, I have all of these superstars that you left on the table. You went for the shiny, cool things that do a lot of winning, but I can win with
Talk about revenge. T1 now will likely have to face this team to go to the finals if they make that run through the lower bracket. And assuming Gen G beats B&K, that matchup already, and we're speculating that'll be the case. I think it's the most likely. Sounds epic. Imagine T1 trying to win another best of 5 against this team after the disaster that dropped them into lower. Raptor, the Justice Man voters win.
There we go. I think this is a fantastic choice. I think this guy looked so incredibly good in this series. Even the Jarvan had some good moments, although they weren't quite able to get over the line. But what an incredible series. B&K FearX, and I think there are some coffee bettors that are feeling a little bit worried about,
No, there are none. There are none here.
I think I'm represented in that, though, because I think it's like global versus Korean side as far as the B&K versus DK thing, and I was lumped in there. I kind of want to, maybe I'll just go, I'll defect and head over to the Korean side.
The term overperformance just doesn't even cut it for the series, man. I cannot believe it. Vikla's going to the space as well. He says, don't turn off your stream.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to get an interview with him alongside Wadid and Digon as well, which is going to be a whole lot of fun. And before that, we get to hear from Raptor, the man that figured out exactly what to pick every single time in this series and looked absolutely phenomenal doing so. I'm just kind of reeling. I don't know what to make of it. There's a chance that T1 don't even have a shot at heading to first.
Not again, just like last year.
What if DK somehow managed to capitalize on the fact that they fumbled here and just kick them out of the tournament?
And then nobody wins the bet because DK also go to Hong Kong?
Whoa, that would be crazy. B&K just beats Gen G, and then we get the DK versus Gen G, you know what? We just need to go to the interview with Raptor and stop speculating on things. This has been a crazy day. Take it away, dear.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation. We have Raptor on the side of B&K FearX. Congratulations! Thank you. You just secured BFX's first international roadshow. How do you feel? It was a great performance by us, and we were able to take down a strong team. And I think our entire team is celebrating this moment. Yeah, against everyone's predictions, you just took down DT1. And everyone thought your draft was great too. So what were the players' predictions? I think lately, although we had some shortcomings in the last match, we have always thought that every match has been winnable. And I think today's match was quite comfortable to play out. And in game 1, we noticed that you were focusing the Jinx down with Pantheon. So how crucial was it to target the bot lane against T1? I think same with T1 and us. I think we actually like to play around bot. So that's just something that we had in mind all game. Your Pantheon is absolutely on point. And in the current LCK Cup, he is your most played champion and 4 wins and 1 loss. Such a high win rate. So how do you rate Pantheon? You can rate your own Pantheon. You know Pantheon? There are a lot of other bruisers like him, but because he has a really good ult, and I think he has a lot of angles to be able to make those game-breaking plays. Yeah, I think I did a pretty good job with him today. And so, in game 2, after your defeat, what was the feedback like? I think the overall review was that, at the very last team fight, we weren't able to do well. So I think we just wanted to focus on doing better in the next game. And you guys flexed Rise top in game 3. And then you actually went for jungle Maokai. So have you considered him before? Yeah, we were originally trying to use Rise for mid, but I think it was the discussion that went, Yone actually looked even better, so given that Rise can be played top, I think this was kind of like a on-the-foot kind of a decision-making. Yeah, you were able to solo kill this Wukong in the early game, so what was your read? I think Maokai against Wukong, you can actually juggle pretty well, so I was trying to go for a trade, and I saw that our bot was actually pushing in. Or our bot was actually pushed in, so I felt like I need to just go the other way. So with the Anivia chasing you, you must have felt rushed. I think with the smite, with the level up, I thought that I could actually survive, so I was trying to play it out slowly. And we can sense your confidence from your plays. Even in your game 4, your counter jungle pathing and with jungle and decision-making were quite game-breaking. So has Coach Lyra or any of this coaching staff given you a lot of advice? Yeah, honestly, I have been getting such great coaching. I think especially something that paid off this match was that they were actually educating me on how to path with Pantheon specifically. So I think I actually learned a lot from them, and I'm so grateful that it paid off today. And Ruler yesterday at the analyst desk was giving his predictions, and he said that he met your Lee Sin and was quite shocked by how good you were. So did you see that? Yeah, I did. So what happened during the solo queue? No, I met Ruler and Keria in solo queue, and I played my best, and everything went really well. So I think he actually gave me a pretty good praise. Now that you quickly secured your trip to Hong Kong, you will be in upper round 3 against Genji for a direct ticket to the finals. What are your mindsets? Genji, they're so great. They're such a top-tier team. But as long as we are well prepared ourselves, I'm sure we'll have a great match against them. There are fans crying today. Did you see? No, I didn't see yet, but I'll look at the replay. What would you like to say to your fans who never stopped believing in you? Thank you so much for all the support, and now that we made it to Hong Kong, I think we somewhat repaid your support. I hope that we can make sure to show you our utmost best against Genji. And that's the end of the interview with Raptor, and back to the desk. Thank you.